Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, now a proud owner of Harry Kane's signature. And today we bring you a Spurs chat on a number of topics. Fabrizio Romano has given the here we go on Clement Lenglet on a loan deal. But does he have the attributes to surpass Ben Davies and get into that Tottenham team and become a regular? Japhet Tanganga, 23 years of age, 2 injury-prone seasons. AC Milan are interested. Do we loan, sell, or keep Tanganga this season? Paratici is back and forth between Italy and England for quite some time this window. But why? Is there something big brewing? Who knows? Tottenham have been shrewd in their business despite having the 150 million cash injection. Are you happy with the way we've gone about the business with having that sort of cash injection to rely on? And do you see Tottenham, do you see Conte surpassing Pochettino at Tottenham in terms of challenging for the league, getting to all the cup semi-finals and finals we did, and making a good run in the Champions League? Is that possible under Antonio Conte? And what business does Paratici have left to do? So as you can see, a lot of topics to get through tonight. Of course, we have a star-studded panel. We are joined by Sean from Spurs Talk Show, Brian from Tottenham on Tour, and we will be joined by Ben from We Are Tottenham TV. He said it was getting him out of watching Love Island with the missus, but I fear he could be bet into Love Island with the missus. So that's probably why he is late. But look, we'll question him when he gets on here. Sean, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm good. I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. Thank you for having me. It's been a little while. It's been a hot minute since I've been on the show. So good to see you. Good to see you, Brian, as well. And I can't wait to see Ben so I can rub it in his face that I beat him at the quiz show.
Yeah, no, that feels.
Fair play. That's a good achievement. That is a very good achievement. Look, maybe me and you will have to have a quiz off, Sean, because I'm a reigning champion too. But Brian, how are you keeping, my man?
I was fine till you said that last sentence, David. I was fine because I know exactly who you beat in said quiz.
You're champ, and I'm champ.
So yeah, you both. By any chance, Sean, with you say that, do you watch Woody and Clyde?
No.
Okay, Woody and Clyde, who use the champ. They're huge on YouTube. But yeah, no, I'm good, mate. Starting to feel better than I have been over the last week, so it's all good.
Everybody put some well wishes in the chat for Mr. Daigle. Hasn't been too well, and I'm sure your support will be good from guys. I'm going to go through the comments, welcome a few people in. Already 192 people in-house. Haven't even got going. That is the new standard set on this channel. Everyone smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and feel free to engage with us at any time with your comments in the chat. But if you want to skip that chat and you want us to get straight to your point and have a very good discussion on it, an in-depth discussion, feel free to make that a super chat. It is a great way to support the show and everything myself and Jack are trying to achieve here on this channel. Well, look, let's get him on. I think he's given up on Love Island. It must be on the break. So
What's going on, guys? What's going on, David?
Look at the news.
How was the wedding?
You, brother.
How was the wedding and honeymoon?
What'd you say, Dave?
How was your wedding and honeymoon?
It was amazing, man. It was amazing. Every second of it. The wedding was amazing. And the honeymoon was nice and relaxing. Literally just on a beach for 10 days. So it was happy days.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Look, just give us a second here. Let me just breathe it in. And I'm part of it. What a panel.
It's absolutely star-studding and a lot to get through tonight. So look, we'll make use of everybody's time here tonight and we will get straight into it. We will just get straight into it and we'll start with Clement Lenglet. Just give me 1 second there. And the news is that 1 second.
You haven't said hello to your panel yet, to the crowd yet.
Good point, Shawnee. Good point. 1 second. So we have Brandon Reynolds. He says Spurs are Ben's flustering me now. You see, we got the big dog on. We got the big dog on. He's making me go red. Brandon Reynolds says Spurs are at 60 million net spend with sale on Bergwijn so far, 150 million cash injection, PR hype, transfers winding down to loans, and 50 million spent. With some more sales would be like 50 odd net spend. Look, that's one way of looking at it, my man. Seamus Doherty says, big up the Doherty family, says the 150 million hasn't been spent yet and there's still 2 months on the transfer window. I know it's good to have them in early, but people need to change. Fair point, my man. Big up, Martin Sheridan. Great to see you in. We also have 4 Art below. Big yourself up. Adrian Shaka, Ashraka, Foggy Foam. Big yourself up. Adam McFarlane. Tequila, big yourself up. You said you're going to have shots every time I say it. So big up, big up, big up. That's a 3 in a row, my man. Big up, lad.
Wait a minute.
Moondog
I'll play that game. Wait a minute.
Butler gets battered.
Big up, Moondog. Says evening, David and Jack. Ricky Nados says, good evening, brothers, to all you Spurs family. Come on, you Spurs. We have Colavius. Big up, my man. Dermot in the house. We also have Spursy Steve, my man. Great to see you. Wolves FI. Big up, my man. No comment, just a donation. I'll have a look to see if there's any. I don't see any, but big up, my man. Really appreciate the support. What an absolute legend. That is a banger to start the show with. Big up, lad. Absolute legend. Chris Renuni's new membership. Hopefully we see you tomorrow, Chris. Big up, lad. Great to see you. Good to see Mick Carmelock as well. And Jay passing. Johnny Stokes. Big up, my man. Great to see you. Bonnie M, the hottest Spur. Dan End, great, all legends in the house today. Spursy Steve, my man, how are you? Tempest Fugit, Rupert's Roughcut, Young Putty, one of the greatest names I've seen. Marlon Green, Stewart, 727, absolute all legends. Michael Anderson. But look, we are going to get into it. There's so many. I'm so far behind in the comments, so excuse me, and we will just skip forward. So we will start with Tottenham are set to sign Clement Lenglet from Barcelona. Here we go. Loan deal agreed. Valid until June 2023. Lenglet already accepted last week. Personal terms agreed. And then loan move to Tottenham done. No buy option clause included. Officially, he'll be back at Barca in June 2023 as things stand. Tottenham will pay a loan fee, believed to be in the region of 6 million and part of the salary. And Conte has already called Lenglet. Now, we'll start with you. Benji. We'll get the star. We'll get the big boy involved first. Look, as we know, Clement Lenglet is set to join on loan. He's been out of form for Barcelona for some time, Ben. But he will likely use this loan spell to prove some doubt is wrong. Lenglet is a player desperate to turn things around. He's hungry to change his form as well as turn his career around. Do you think it's good that Spurs are signing a player that wants to prove something and is desperate to put his career back on track?
You should probably ask Butler. He's been studying Lenglet for about a month now.
I've got a different question for Butler.
No, I'm kidding. No, I think it's. I do think it's a good signing. I think Conte is probably the right manager to get his career back on track. I think the Barcelona move just wasn't right for him at all. He was playing in a back three more times than not at Seville on the left side. His distribution is literally second to none. It's going to be so much better than anyone that we have in the team currently right now. So I think he'll thrive under a Conte system. I think he'll thrive under Conte as well. And he's got attributes that this team needs. So bring it on. I'm really happy with this signing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Shawnee, Lenglet is supposed to be a very good ball-playing centre-back and is actually quite aggressive for Barcelona in terms of on the ball. He played centre-back for a team that likes to dominate the ball and hold a very high line. Do you think he has the right attributes to succeed Ben Davies in the left centre-back role?
Yeah, well, the stats suggest he does, right? The stats suggest. I don't want to be like someone who's known, and I already feel like I'm going to be clipped, and if he's a shit show, then I feel like I'm going to get a lot of heat later on this season, and that's fine. But all I was ever doing was
a gambling man. He's going to be a success. You're going to be.
He's going to be. I think he's going to be a raging success because the stats are the stats, and also his stats that I never looked at were even better. The further back in time that you go, and you go into when he was at Seville and he played in the back three, the stats just get better and better and better. The guy at his worst point in his career, playing in a back four, having come from a back three, playing in a back four, making a couple of mistakes, and having the crowd booing him every time he touched the ball. Even in that period, his stats were already better than, in every meaningful metric, Pau Torres, Ben Davies, Sven Botman. You could almost argue Bastoni, and probably not quite as good as Gvardiol. So if you're judging him at his worst, at his very worst, and he still outperformed what we already have, and he was better than the vast majority of the guys we were going for this summer that would have cost us a lot of money, 70, 80 million, whatever, then Yeah, you have to think that the guy, if he's anything like most people, when they have a bad time, they just need a little bit of support, a little bit of a hug around them. I think the guy's going to really be an absolute upshot, a surprise to the upside, and I can't wait to see him resurrect his career at Tottenham. It's going to be fantastic to see.
Sure,
Ultimately,
he was like set up to fail at Barcelona, wasn't he? Set up to fail. Aging PK next to him, really high line. Defense was shot to pieces. That's just not his game as well, playing that really high line. And he's not
playing in a 4, right? Whereas when he was really good, he was playing in a 3. Like if you look at Ben Davies, how well has Ben Davies transitioned from a 4 to a 3? Maybe Ben Davies was always cut out for a 3, but not in a 4, right? So
we saw it for Wales.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed about, if I'm honest, I genuinely do have that much hope that he's going to be so good, and we will want to sign him next summer on a permanent. But because we haven't apparently got an obligation or an option to buy, if he outperforms, if he really shines, then all of a sudden what we could have signed for maybe 10 million this summer, or with an option next summer, we might have to pay 20 or whatever if he really outperforms, which is the only downside of the deal. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For me,
what's
I think
his contract saying?
6 million quid on the.
No, how long does it have left?
He's still got 3 years left, or I think it's like 30 months, so 2.5 years on his Barcelona deal.
Yes, so in a year he'll be, less value because
that's a good point.
Contract.
That's a good point. Yeah, true.
Yeah, look, we just have to wait and see what he can do this year. I mean, if he has a good season, there's no reason why we can't pursue him. But Daigle, are you happy with the transfer in the sense that he wasn't our first choice, and we were looking to go big this summer and get first choice players in the door?
So first of all, it's not a bad second choice based on everything Sean said about the stats. Then you look at him. You look at what Sean said as well, what he's done to Ben Davies, what he's done for Eric Dyer, and apparently he wanted him at Inter or whatever. So you look at it, it's someone that Conte knows will fit into his system. It's someone that Conte knows has got all the attributes to be in his system. And let's look at it. When Conte gets players in, he makes them better. He's made every single player better. So bringing in this person that's got all the attributes that he sees, I think the only way for him is up. It may not be the big name, the 50, 60 million player, but that doesn't mean he ain't coming. Time's running out for career, where he wanted a large chunk of his squad in. And let's face it, a large chunk of his squad. What is wrong with me? Squad.
Daigle gets battered.
Yeah, the war thing here in Canada is. I can see it as a positive thing.
Yeah, and you know what? I think he's positive. It's positive as well. Look, he was a target of Tottenham's last summer, but Lenglet didn't want to leave Barca to come here. And look, let's not beat around the bush. He is not top of our transfer list. Going into this window. But when you look at the type of players that we've been looking at, the likes of Bastoni, Gavardio, Pau Torres, now Lenglet, it's clear to see that we want someone in a ball-playing sort of defender role to match Romero over the other side. It's clear that we're targeting somebody like that. Can he come in and displace Ben Davies? I really do think so. But even if he doesn't, we still need competition for the guy. And if our first options are not available, I'm glad that we're bringing this guy in on loan, because it gives us a year to see how he gets on. But it also gives us another year to go and pursue Bastoni or Gavardio and get one of them in here as well. So in a sense, we're kind of kicking that can down the road. We haven't spent money on the position, and we are lying in wait, maybe thinking we can do something like that.
And that's okay, Dave, right? Like, if I said this on my stream earlier, I've said it a few times. Like, if you can't get I don't believe that Lenglet was anybody's first choice, not Conte's either. Yeah. Even though you're right what you're saying, he did tap him up for Inter and whatever. But I just feel like if you can't get Bastoni, because he just didn't want to leave, right? Like, you have to just sometimes respect the reality.
You have to bring somebody in.
If you can't get Gvardiol, because Gvardiol's just signed that new five-year renewal deal with a 45 million quid buyout. To me, that whole thing stinks of a Haaland contract with like a super low buyout clause, which allows for the agent to be tapped up, and he gets about 20 million next year, and so does the father or the family or whatever. So, but these big deals, like the Luis Diaz deal, didn't start. We hurried that deal along for Liverpool, but Liverpool were working on that deal a year earlier. Haaland's Man City didn't start the process in June to sign Haaland, right? They started it 18 months ago. And I just feel like maybe we have to respect the process and think that
we do.
if you want to get Gvardiol, if you want to get Bastoni, maybe it takes a bit longer than just a phone call at the end of the summer. Do you want to come? No? Okay. Maybe Lenglet is just, hopefully a really good stopgap, but it allows Paratici to spend the next year working his magic so that we can get the real replacement for the future in 12 months' time.
I agree. And I'm happy with that. Like, at the end of the day, rather than bringing in a player like an Ndika, who you just don't know what he's going to do in the Premier League. He's still at that sort of age. I'd much rather us bring in someone like Lenglet, 27 years of age, experience in the Champions League, experience in international football. He just needs a little bit of love. When you look what Conte done with Dyer and Davies, he'll get Lenglet back to his best. But plus, we don't have any other ball-playing defender at this club, bar Romero. Now, he had his injury problems last season. So if he does get injured, even if Lenglet doesn't start ahead of Ben Davies, it still means we can bring in Lenglet over the left-hand side and still possess that ball-playing ability out from the back, because it's important. Very, very important. Ben, Brian. Oh, Ben's gone. Brian.
Love Island's back. Love Island started.
Love Island break is over. Brian, have you anything else you want to add on Clement Lenglet?
No, I mean, it's a good point you just raised about the ball play. Well, we do need it. I mean, Eric Dyer's passing to some extent has got better, a lot better, but it's not 100% trustworthy like Toby. So having another one in there that could do that is obviously going to be good for the team. Well, that's what we need. We've got the brawn and the strength and the power. We need a bit of finesse, and he will bring that.
Yeah. Brian, let me ask both of you guys this whilst we're on the topic. The only thing, when I looked at the stats in depth, the only part of his stats that genuinely look very woeful is his heading, right? When he was at Seville and when he was at Barcelona over a 4 or 5 year period, he's at, like, for every header he goes up for an aerial duel, he's only winning 35-40%. That was at Barcelona, even fewer at Seville, right? So the number goes down. Whereas Ben Davies was actually pretty important with his aerial duels last season. So, do you guys worry a little bit? Like, listen, I'm all for Lenglet. Don't get me wrong, but we got to call a spade a spade. Where he's very good, he's very, very good. But where he's bad, he's awful. And where he's very bad is in the air. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, because Tottenham are not particularly great in the air defensively. We already, Romero, one of the best centre-backs potentially in world football, but he was pretty poor in the air last season. Ben Davies was actually very good in the air last season, and Lenglet, his stats suggest, is not at Seville, not at Barcelona. So are you worried a little bit about what that might mean? People from the left wing forwards or left wing backs pinging the ball towards the right side. Is Lenglet going to be able to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a concern. I'll just answer quickly and we'll let Ben and Brian back in. I think it's definitely a concern, but at the end of the day, Dyer and Davies are shit in the air anyway. So, I mean, the fact that he's better on the ball than Ben Davies is a huge plus for me. But as well,
I don't think Davies wasn't that bad in the air last season.
He's not great though, Sean. He's not great. Like, our whole back line is not great. There's a reason why we're crap from set pieces, free kicks and corners into the box, the whole lot of them. But you're just asking players, grab your cojones and go and fucking have that desire, have that passion to be the one to want to win that ball. That's all you're asking for, and hopefully one of them could turn around and do that this season. But bringing in Lenglet, it still frees up money to go out and buy a centre-back. So I don't think we're done yet. I really don't think we're done yet. Ben, what do you think?
Well, I missed half the conversation.
The question, Ben. Yeah, the question, Ben, was essentially that, like, if we're calling a spade, looking at the stats, not just at Barcelona, but go back to Seville. Lenglet, great at many things, but very bad in the air. Much worse than Ben Davies. Aerial duels won, percentages won, all that stuff. So I just worry a little bit. We're already bad in the air anyway.
That's in La Liga, right?
And that's in La Liga, yeah. So
look, I think it is a concern. But when you look at our back three, right, none of them are really good in the air. And when that's the honest truth of things. And second half of the season, it didn't really hinder us that much. We kept 16 clean sheets last season, which is a record for our club. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to affect us too much. I think we've brought in aerially big players as well in Bissouma and Perisic and people like that. So I think they can help out on set pieces. But I'm not too worried about it, to be honest, because of last season, how many clean sheets we actually kept.
Good point. And Diego, I mean, are you concerned about the lack of aerial ability?
I'm pretty much the same as you and Ben, but also I think which is also going to help us with our set pieces if we finally get this set piece coaching. If we get this set piece coaching, the game changes both. Huh?
Is he not in?
Yeah, he's
in. I don't know if is he in now?
I think he's in.
So.
Yeah, I think he's
in. So if he's in, that's the guy that's got a playbook of 4,800 different set pieces, and one thing he will know to work on, like he said, or like the reports were saying, is what he does is he has his set piece book and he finds he doesn't go in with he basically adapts them to the players he's got. So I think defensively, you're going to see a whole different side of us defensively from set piece as well as attacking wise. So I think that is going to be a huge change where it will benefit Longley and the other weak heading players.
Yeah, I think I saw a quote from him. I'm not sure if it was from this job or a previous job saying he wants to see at least 15 goals from set pieces a season or something.
It's what happened. I don't know if some sort of he took over a team. I can't remember what team it was in January when there was a relegation fight. And out of the 44 goals they scored that season from when he came in January, 17% of them were set pieces.
Yeah. No, he's got a good record. 4,000 odd routines as well. It definitely is a factor to consider. Take a few super chats and then we'll get on to the next piece of news. John Stokes says, "Smash that like button, people. Come on, you Spurs." Exactly, John. If you haven't smashed that like button, I don't know what you've been doing with your time. This stream is so engaging. So everyone smash that like button. It's the thumbs up. It's free. Look, abuse it. Love tap it. I don't care what you do. Just touch off it. Wolves F1 says, Matata United, what you want this time? I don't know what that means, to be honest with you, Wolves F1. You've lost me. Anyone know? No?
God knows if there's someone by that name in the comments.
Wolves F1, just put in the comments, my man, and let me know what you mean, and we'll get it back up. Big up, brother. Really appreciate the support. Dark Song G with the Whopper. Big up, my man. Really appreciate it. He says the Gooners are doomed if that North London Premier League player accused of rape is their starter. If it is the player I'm thinking of, we can banter them like they did with Bissouma. Also, our transfer window is going great. Anyone want to handle this one, boys?
Yeah, I'll just say something. I'll say something. I mean, this is the thing where I'll be very quick with this. Arsenal show their lack of class by trying to badger us with Bissouma. We shouldn't be doing that back to them. Two wrongs don't make a right. We got more class than that. And you've got to remember that there's a very, very serious crime that's been committed here. So I'm sure the Spurs fans will show more class than that shitlock filth down the road.
Yeah.
Well said, Dago.
Well said.
You didn't think that was coming out of me, did you?
Well said. Big up, Dark Sun G, brother. Really appreciate the support, my man. But I agree with Brian. Let's show more class than them. Let's teach them how to be classy. That's what I say. Really appreciate the support, Dark Sun G. Hope you do not mind me moving on quickly with that one. I hope you do understand. Dark Sun G said Blues are doomed with Mr. MLB owner. I'm in charge of transfers, which I don't mind. If Barcelona takes Alonso and Azpilicueta, their defense is doomed. Top three is ours. Benji, what do you think of that idiot that took over Chelsea? And do you agree with Dark Song G here?
I don't get it, because this guy, Bowley, whatever his name is, like, he knows nothing about football, and he sacked everyone around him that knows about football.
He's leaving. He's Daniel Levy Mark II.
It makes no sense to me, this guy. And all he seems to be doing is like hijacking other teams' transfers. He doesn't seem to be coming up with anything like original for Chelsea or getting any sort of advice for anyone. He's like, oh, Arsenal want Rafinha. All right, yeah, he looks like a good player. Let's go for him. Man, you want Frankie de Jong. All right, let's go for him. It's a weird situation at Chelsea at the moment. And look, I do believe they will get players in. They're getting Raheem Sterling in, which is going to be a good signing for them. But as it stands right now, I genuinely believe we're stronger than them. I think top 3 should be our minimum aim for this season in the league. It's got to be.
I agree.
Top two.
I agree. Look,
Minimum.
that guy, he will feel the effects of this window. He will feel the effects of this window. Sacking that, what's her name? You one that's been in charge of everything over the last few years. Sacking her was an absolute rookie error by this guy. I think it will have knock-on consequences, to be honest with you. And look, what I will say, Dark Sun G, and I've stated this many times, I look at that second game of the season. I just look at it. And I look at a number of teams surrounding it. Richarlison suspended for first game of the season. But what's he suspended for? Throwing that flyer back where it came from. And I think it was against Chelsea, if I'm correct. Now, that's when Richarlison would probably be on the bench for that game. But we also have a ridiculous hoodoo away at Chelsea, or just against Chelsea in general. With their defence being absolutely ripped apart, Thiago Silva being another year older, I'm looking at that game, and I think we could turn them over. We turn them over. That hoodoo's off our back. The belief in that squad, and Conte will play off that. I think we'll go on and have a very good season and definitely finish well ahead of Chelsea. Big up, Dark Sun G, brother. Really appreciate it.
I said it, Dave. I said that yesterday, Dave. I said if we beat Chelsea on the second day of the window, we are going to have an amazing season. I tell you.
But
It's the perfect time to play them. I don't think I think that Bola doing all the weird stuff he's doing, I don't think he's not going to have got all of their transfer stuff done by obviously the transfer window's open a few weeks after the first or second game of the season. It's the perfect time to play them. The only better time to play them will be first game of the season.
I agree. I got a feeling Chelsea could be scrambling around.
I can't believe Raheem Sterling's going there. Literally, he came out a couple of seasons ago going mental about Chelsea's racist fans. And then, like Sean said, oh, here's X amount a week. Oh, I love Chelsea. Let's go to Chelsea. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, standard, mate, isn't it? Standard. Same
long may it continue over there. Long may it continue.
I got a feeling Chelsea are going to be scrambling around the last 2 weeks of the window.
Yeah, and they'll be ripped off as well. Definitely be ripped off. Dark Sun G says, how are you doing? Are you going to do a watch along for the preseason? All preseason, every single game, my man. Just like most other Spurs channels, I presume. So my man definitely be doing watch-alongs for the preseason. Look, back to normal, back to pre-match build-up.
Pre-match
pump-up and watch-alongs back to normal as soon as preseason starts. So that's the 13th of this month. Not too long to wait. 6 more days, and we are back to full business. Dark Sun G, big up, brother. Really appreciate support. Ellie with the super sticker. Now, bear with me 1 second. Ellie, I just have to check to see what that is. You might hear an awful noise here for a second or a playback because I'll have to put this on mute, but I just have to flick back up on YouTube and see what it is. 1 second, of course, now the chat is making a dick of me. It's taking its time, but we have it back now. And Ellie, that is a picture of a burger. Absolutely love it, Ellie. You're making me jealous. Believe it or not, I'm actually having chips for my dinner tonight, Ellie. I love chips. I have chips with curry, chips with salad, chips with roast dinner, chips with everything, Ellie. Chips with pot noodle. That's what life is about, chips. Big up, Ellie. But I wouldn't mind a burger as well.
Do you dunk your chips?
Nice burger tonight.
Oh, don't start. I'm starving. I haven't had dinner today. What do I do with my chips? Look, some people may call this gross, but a bit of salt, bit of pepper, bit of vinegar, and then whatever sauce is there that that is taking my fancy. That's the dip for the evening. But look, Dark Sun G says 3 more in before the window ends.
Chips, Dave.
Yeah, 100%. Get the pepper. Like I said, no-bo.
Look, those who put pepper on their chips, they know what the secret is.
Salad cream with chips. Salad cream with chips is banging.
Not a bad choice, Daigle. Not a bad choice. I'm fond of a bit of salad cream now, I have to say. We take this super chat from Dark Sun G and we'll keep this show kicking on. Dark Sun G says 3 more in before the window ends. Don Paratici, please. Also, Gooners and Man United are becoming irrelevant, which I'm happy about. Also, Ronaldo is the main topic for transfers, like how it was Kane for us last year. And that reminds me, I did actually tweet Gary Neville, and I just said to him, it's time to book the golf course again, round up the crew, and get that interview done with Ronaldo. Did it happen? No, it didn't, because he plays for a club that Gary Neville has close to his heart. But I encourage every Spurs fan to @GNev on Twitter and say the same thing. Let's get that interview done, just like he done with Big H. But look, I'm delighted Ronaldo's leaving. Look, United are crumbling before our eyes. It's absolutely fantastic to see. So long may that continue. Will 3 more come in before the window ends? Well, look, just for you, Dark Sun G, I'll bump a question up the ladder. Let me just so look. We'll start with Daigle on this one. We'll let Daigle go first. Paratici is back and forth between Italy and London. What do you think he is doing over there? Do you think he might be working on something big? Maybe a delete, maybe a right wing back? You know, do you think Don Paratici is cooking? And what do you think he has left to do this window?
Okay, so I think a lot of it's got to do with outgoings. Obviously, there's Japhet Tanganga with Milan. There's Joe Rodon possibly with Roma. There's a few things. Obviously, he could be there on holiday as well, visiting family, whatever. But I think and I've said this, I think he's got under the radar because I think there's a big one in the offing. I'm absolutely convinced that there is a huge incoming. Now, when I say huge incoming, I don't necessarily mean like 70, 80 million, but I reckon there is a player that is being kept well under the radar for reasons we know where it's all gone to pot that's coming in. I think there's a lot more smoke screens coming out. I am genuinely thinking that there is such a big name coming in. I personally
it's Hakimi, man. It's Hakimi.
Mate, I'm going crazy. Mate, it could be Bastoni. We know it's not going to. I kept saying Bastoni when I was taking over you, Ben, when you were on honeymoon. But then it kept coming out. No, he's come out again. I'm absolutely convinced. Not thinking it definitely won't be done before career. May not even be done before the start of the season. But I think within this transfer window, there is a very, very, very high percentage that the Ndombele deal will not be our record transfer fee anymore. And there is a big, big, big fish coming to Tottenham Hotspur. I really, really, really think that we are going to do it. Like I said, I'm very, very positive. I've always said, when it comes to the money this time, I didn't say we wouldn't spend it. It was like, would we have everything done by career? That's what I was doubting. And the Conte wanted a majority. Let's face it, he has got the majority. So he's been good to his word. And we're just going to have to see what happens. But I think he is literally in Italy cooking up, as you would say, a big, big, big deal. Whether it be smash transfer fee, which I think it will, or like a Perisic or that kind of transfer, or Basuma last year.
Marquee, but just not necessarily in value.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be the one that everyone. Put it this way, it will be the one where everyone will say, "Holy shit, Tottenham Hotspur mean fucking business." I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. Wow. And fuck me.
Absolutely love that. I mean, if Daigle's getting excited, I mean, everybody else out there doesn't have a choice but to get excited. I absolutely look at the smile on Brian's face. He's relieved of all of everything. He's relieved. Look, I'm smiling. I love it. I love to see it. Shawnee, I mean, do you think Paratici is cooking up something? Do you think you can turn in some chicken nuggets and chips and get a Sunday roast?
Do you know what, Dave? I said this earlier on my show, right? I actually feel like me and like I've always been thought of as the Levy defender, and now I'm where I'm at. And Brian has always been thought of as the Levy, Levy out protagonist, and he's now where he's at. I think that me and Brian are getting closer and closer because I'm not a huge fan of Richarlison. I think that's going to end in tears. I genuinely do. I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I just think it's going to end in a lot of fucking disaster in a variety of different ways and mechanisms, how it could end up. And also, I don't know if we're going to do something that's extraordinary in the right wing back spot. I don't know. I don't think we're going to surprise anybody anything more in the centre back spot. And I hope I'm wrong. But for the first time ever, I think that me and Brian are like kind of almost flip-flopping. Like we're almost crossing paths. Like we're pissing into. We're doing the sword thing.
Get the debate done now. While Daigle's on the other side. Get it done now.
Yeah, I'm worried.
I haven't flipped sides. I have not flipped sides.
I know. You're optimistic. You're optimistic, right?
I know. Like I said, listen. As I said before. You look at this window, it's one window in 43.
Yeah.
Well, like I said it on Twitter, I've been saying it on a few streams I go on to now. when I go into a pub, let's say I'm in a pub with Ben, and he sees me with an alcohol-free bottle of beer, and he doesn't question me at all. Is that an alcohol-free beer or an alcohol-free one? And why doesn't he? Because he knows I've gone 14 years sober. I've proven people that you haven't got to doubt, you haven't got to worry. I've done this consistently. Listen, he has started off in a very, very good way. I can't say anything other than that. Right now,
I agree with that.
Levy, Paratici have done a great job this summer. A great job this summer.
Yeah.
But let's see it over a consistent amount of time, not just one summer.
Well, look,
whereas my personal take is I worry. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But I think that Bissouma was the marquee signing. I really want us to go and find a central midfielder that can beat the low block, or I really want us to go and sign someone alongside of a Lenglet. I really want us to go and get someone better than Jed Spence. But I don't know if those names are out there, and I'm a little bit concerned. I've got to be honest. 2 weeks ago, I was like, we're at a 7 out of 10 window thus far. I'm starting to bring it down a little bit. I feel like Richarlison, for me, I think he's a disaster. I don't see it. I know the rest of you do. I don't.
Go to bed dreaming of Pamela Anderson. You'll wake up and give it a 10 in the morning, my man. No problem. So you will, 100%, lad. But no, look, I think many can share your concern, Sean, in terms of many have stated they would like a different option in midfield, someone that can play between the defence and the opposition's defence and midfield. They have stated they want proper upgrade at right wing back, someone that's more than Spence. So I think, look, a lot of people definitely share your concerns, but we'll get on to that in just a few minutes, Sean. So hold your thoughts.
Okay.
But Benji, just to round off for Dark Sun G here, do you think Paratici has the pans out, the oven on? Do you think he's about to cook up a main course Michelin star meal?
He already has, man. He already has. The window has been absolutely brilliant so far. I disagree with Sean. I think Richarlison is going to be a success here. I personally think Richarlison is going to be like our version of Jota. That's
how many goals?
He's going to be. How many goals do I think he's going to get next year?
Yeah.
I think he can hit at least between 12 and 15.
Across all competitions or just in the Prem?
Just in the Premier League.
You think he'll score 12 and 15 goals in the Prem?
You got to remember next year we got 5 substitutes. He's going to have a lot of game time next year. He's going to have a lot. And he's got a lot better players around him than he had at Everton. And he was hitting those numbers at Everton.
So do you still think that the Harry Kane's going to score 20 goals in the Prem?
Yeah.
And Sonny as well?
Yeah.
So you
I think Sonny
50,
might not...
55 goals is going to come from those 3. How many is Kulusevski going to give us?
Let's say Richarlison and Kulu both 10.
Well, you just said 15. You just said 15. You're changing your
I don't know how many they're going to score, do I?
I'm not going to get bogged down on Richarlison. We covered Richarlison for fucking 4 hours today. I'm fed up with hearing about Richarlison. We're moving on from Richarlison.
Richarlison will beat our Jota. That's all I know. He's going to come in. He's going to get us important goals. And that's the fact.
Fair enough.
I don't know how many goals he's going to score, but my prediction is over 10, below 15.
Interesting. So do you think Paratici will cook up one big main course for us?
I think we're going to sign 3 more players. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a big marquee signing or anything. I think we're going to get 1 centre-back, right back, and maybe an attacking mid somewhere in that sense. But I think the centre-back...
Outside of Lenglet, you think 3 more apart from Lenglet?
Yeah, after Lenglet.
3 more, okay. Yeah.
I think the centre-back and the midfielder will be like kind of an opportunity. Maybe that will come later in the window. But the right-back needs to come in ASAP. And this whole Spence thing is getting a bit... it's been strange for ages, but it doesn't seem to me like they really want him that bad.
Yeah. Seems like they're holding off on it. It really does.
Could be my quote screen.
Maybe he's delivering a Hakimi. Maybe he's bringing in a Joaquin Mela or someone like that. You just don't know. But Dark Sun G, brother, really do appreciate the support, brother. An absolute whopper. Big yourself up. We'll keep moving on to the next one, and it's about Japhet Tanganga. I do not want to get hung up on this because I have more important things to get hung up on. Everyone, there's over 522 people in the house. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Well, you've no option but to smash the subscribe button because it's on subscriber mode only. So thank you for smashing that subscribe button. And guys, feel free to keep getting them super chats in with your thoughts and opinions and questions for the panel. I do have more to go through, but I will get onto them. But look, guys, Tanganga, he's a bit of a weird one. Look, AC Milan are reportedly interested in bringing Spurs defender Japhet Tanganga to Italy this summer, with Sky Sports' Gianluca Di Marzio reporting that AC Milan have met with Tanganga's agent. Do you think Tanganga will be loaned out, or will he stick around? And we'll start off with you first on this one, Shawnee. And the reason why I asked that is because he's had 2 seasons back-to-back. Last season, he missed from the back end of the season. The season before that, he missed the whole start of the season. He's 23 years of age. What do we do with this guy, Shawnee? Do you think a loan move will benefit him? Do you think we should try and cash in on him? Or do you think we should keep him?
No, I think we should keep him for 3 reasons. One, I think he is somebody that is, if you're going to loan him out to anywhere, you want to loan him out to the Premier League, but I think that's going to help other clubs, and I don't think we need him to be loaned out. 2, I think he has actually started his career at Tottenham really well. I think he started last season really good. At times, I thought he could play in the right wing back spot, the right back spot, or could play in the right side of the centre back. He had a bit of a bad spell, and no one's going to shake that or take that away. I think everyone will agree that he definitely kind of fell back a little bit, made a few mistakes, as everyone does. He's only human. But 3, and the most important reason, is he's homegrown. And we are, like we spoke about this earlier, Dave and Brian, we need to have players that are in the homegrown quota, even if they're not necessarily going to play. We need to have good enough players that are on the bench that can come in, and people that make the argument, it doesn't matter about the homegrown because we could just fill the deficit with people from the youth. Well, in a worst case scenario where people get injured, you're going to have to play the youth. And for me, the youth are untested and untried. And in the Champions League, that's a lottery ticket I don't want to ever have to read. So for me, I think Tanganga should stay at Tottenham. I think he's good enough. I think he needs, again, just a little bit of more support. He had a bit of a bad run, but I don't want him to go anywhere. I want him to stay at Tottenham. Interesting.
Brian, are you okay with Tanganga sticking around? Does he need to go out on loan in order to further his development?
Yeah, I love Tanganga. I really think there's a player in there, especially the back 3. But when I went for my one and only time ever to Stamford Bridge with Ben, he looked like a little lost schoolboy. He was so bereft of confidence. He just looked all over the place. Yeah, that's the run I think Sean was talking about. At that kind of time, he just had his confidence was shot, and he needs to get regular first team football, and he's not going to get it at Tottenham at the moment, the way we're going. So I think a loan deal will be best for him. But then you start looking at what Sean was saying about homegrown. So there's got to be some players come. We've got to get some English players in, or players that were trained here. So that is a big problem. But I think Tanganga, I don't want to sell him. I think he needs to go out on loan and get a year's football where he constantly plays under his belt. I think it's very, very important. Like when Skip went Sessegnon went to Hoffenheim. Jose said, I wanted to be played at left wing back because that's how I want to use him. They did use him in that position. We've got to identify the position that he's going to be in for Conte and say, right, you're only going on loan if this club plays you in this position, blah, 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 and go from there. Because I really think there's something in there with him.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's a bit of a mixed bag. Look, he pocketed 2 City players at the start of last season. He had that great debut against Liverpool. But he's also had some howlers like against Chelsea. Ben, what would you do with this guy? And would you be happy if he was kept around just for the homegrown quota alone?
Correct me if I'm wrong. We can still get rid of Winks and Tanganga and be fine with the homegrown quota. It's just the foreign players we need to get rid of. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we have too many foreign players.
I mean, the English, the homegrown is actually not our problem.
Yeah, but if you get rid of, even if you get rid of the foreign players, you still, if you can only have 17 foreign players for the Champions League, then the other 8 will have to be homegrown. They have to, or they have to be, something else, right? And at the moment, we only have Foster, Sessegnon, Kane, Skip, and Tanganga as our 5 recognised first team players.
Most other Premier League teams will register youngsters. We register,
and that's fine. But in a world where you get injured in a couple of key positions, then you have to bring in 17, 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds. I don't want to do that in the
Yeah.
Champions
Yeah,
League.
no, I get that.
Tanganga is in a position where we don't have the luxury of, because Rodon doesn't count. If you're going to get rid of Tanganga, you should get rid of Rodon.
Oh yeah, well, Rodon's going. Rodon's going regardless.
Yeah. I would personally get rid of both of them and bring in another centre back. To be honest, I think Tanganga. I'm not sure if he's been managed correctly in his Spurs career. I do think there's a good player in there, but when you look at the majority of players that have come through our youth academy, all of them have had loan moves in the Championship, in the Premier League, to help aid their development. When you look at Harry Kane, you look at Kyle Walker, you look at even Danny Rose, so many of these young players that came through. Ollie Skip is another example of it. So many of them have gone to Championship teams, lower end Premier League teams, and had consistent football, got those mistakes out of their game, got more ready for first team football at Spurs. And I think that's exactly what Tanganga needs. I don't want to write him off, but I'm also hearing that Conte apparently thinks that his injury problems are never going to go away, and he's got major injury problems. And if that's the case, then maybe it's right just to get rid now before it hinders us even more.
Yeah, and look, for me, I think whatever decision Conte makes, I think ultimately will be the best decision to make with his experience. But look, with Tanganga, I'd rather keep him hanging around here rather than a Sanchez, a Rodon. For me, I'd much rather give him the opportunity. If we can't sell Sanchez, I think in terms for Tanganga, I would like to loan him out to help him develop and benefit him, because it is a risk keeping him around with how injury prone he is. You don't know whether he's going to be missing for another 3-4 months of the season. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But look, we'll get back to some super chats, and then I want to move on and talk about the 150 million. Have we spent it wisely? Have we used it wisely so far? The Bolton Duter says, how would you rate the transfer window for Charleston? Ends up being our biggest signing this summer, and we don't get any big name in the right wing back or the centre back position. Sean, we'll start with you and work our way around.
It's a great question. So essentially, if this is it, if what we've done is this is it, really.
No, with another wing back and centre back though.
But if we don't get a big name right wing back or the centre back
Spence a big name? Spence not a big name, so Spence can be.
No, and I think Spence is going to come in, but I'm terrified of that. I think that on the basis of everything we've done so far, I would give it a 6, really, because of Perisic and Basuma. I think Perisic offers, but I'm excited to see him. But I'm super worried about putting so much pressure on that fella, 33 years old, to have to potentially play 50-odd games, because Sessegnon is as injury prone. Is the most injury-prone left wing back in Premier League football, and who knows what's going to happen with Reguilon? I don't know what's happening there, but Basuma, I'm super excited about. If I'm honest, apart from that, Basuma and Perisic, I'm very excited about. I'm not excited about Richarlison. I'm not excited about the others. So I'll give it as if that's how we finish it.
R9.
So what will you give it, Tommy?
At the moment, it's a 7 because I think that we can still do bits. But if it finishes that way, if Richarlison is the biggest marquee signing, 6 at best.
It's already gone up 1 from earlier. I'll take that, Shawnee. I'll take that, my man. Daigle, what would you give this window?
Yeah, so this is where this kind of question has been twisted and kind of. Are we talking only regarding transfer window with incomings or incomings and outgoings?
Just as it is so far. This transfer window for Charleston ends up being our biggest signing this summer, and we don't get any other big names in the right wing back or centre back position.
Okay, so I'm guessing
we're just judging it by the incomings, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're just judging. Okay, so if Sean's giving it a 7, and said he's not excited about Richarlison, I'm going to have to give it an 8 because I am very excited about Richarlison.
Wow.
Well, actually, no. I'm going down one. I'm not. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to agree with Sean on a 7 because I think that right wing back, forget the centre back one, this right wing back one, David, as you know, I have a very good saying that I use on every single show that I credit you. Yeah. We degraded from our right backs with every single signing we've made since Kyle Walker. And we cannot allow this to continue. It has to end. We have to say, right, that right wing. It's like, when Schmeichel left United and they went for a string of goalkeepers until they found Van der Sar. And players like that, when they leave the club, this needs to be resolved. So right now, now I want to go down to a 6 because I think the right back is so important.
No, we'll leave you with the Halo one for the evening, Diego. We'll leave you with the 8 with the Halo one for the evening.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go 6.5. There you go, 6.5. Only, don't get me wrong, the players that have come in, I'm delighted about, absolutely over the moon. Every single one of them. Foster, I think we know he's not going to play, but he's a wise backup. Perisic's sensational. Bissouma is going to be a huge asset. Richarlison, fantastic. Longley coming in, yet to be seen, but from what we know, good. But that right wing back has been the biggest issue.
It's a
for
7.
Like
It's a 7 thus far. It's a 7 thus far.
It's this is before people start saying this isn't me going, oh, Levy's a prick, 6.5. I just think that right wing back role is so vital. If that right wing back was in, this would be a 9.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. If we get the right wing back in, if we get a better than Jed Spence right wing back, 100% goes to a 9. But until we do, it's a 7.
Right, we've got a 7, a 6.5. Benji, what are you giving it, my man?
I don't know what you guys are on about.
Don't be afraid to go.
I don't know what you got. We've upgraded with every signing. Foster's a upgrade on Golini, apart from his rapping. You got Lenglet, who's going to be an upgrade, coming in defence. You've got Bissouma, who's definitely an upgrade in midfield, and I think he's going to be the best signing out of the lot. You've got Richarlison, who's going to be an upgrade on Bergwijn. He's better than Mora. He's going to be up there, and he's going to get us goals next season. You've got Kulusevski. Well, come on, Kulusevski is going to link up so well.
He's not part of the transfer window.
I know he's not.
He's just puffering up his.
Wait a sec. Wait a second. I'm getting to the Don Paratici loving.
Let him land that plane.
Who else have we signed, by the way? We've signed. So we're saying Jed Spence at right wing back.
No.
Are we saying Jed Spence at right wing back? Is that what?
No, he's not done yet.
No, without any of them.
He's saying a right wing back and a centre back.
Oh, if we don't get any big names in them positions. So based on what we've done so far, if we don't get a big name in right wing back or centre back, what would you rate this?
I thought we were rating this with a right wing back and a centre back. I was about to go big.
No,
okay, go on. Take your own, mate. Go big. Give it to me.
You can't go big on maybes. We can all go big on maybes.
You just can't be go mad about not having that right wing back being a big thing, and then you start off. I don't know what's wrong with you people, and then you're like,
"It's true."
No,
true,
you're not spot on. You're not spot on.
Do you know what? Ben, what's your rating? Ben? What rating you give it?
Right now, I'm giving it a 7. Right now.
Me.
Welcome to the 7 club.
I'm going to give it an 8.5, could stretch to a 9. I think we've done very, very good business. And by the way, feel free to absolutely cane me in the comments. I got caned in January, and it turns out I was correct on the whole window. So you can cane me all you want. I do not mind. In fact, I love it. But for me, I would give it I would go with an 8, 8.5, maybe stretching to a 9. I think with Richarlison, I wasn't expecting someone like that to come in here in that forward position. That was a bit of a surprise for me. So I'm absolutely buzzing. We've rectified our longest neglected problem in this team in terms of, and he's much more closer to the quality of Harry Kane than what Janssen, Llorente, or Vinicius Jr. ever was. I think I'm happy with Bissouma. I think another very, very good midfield signing offers us something we don't have in the midfield. Fraser Forster, better than Golini, will definitely help us out from set pieces in some of the cup games where Golini was making mistakes, like Chelsea and Morecambe from set pieces. I think Clement Lenglet, look, it's a risk, but I think it's a very good calculated risk on Tottenham's behalf, to be honest with you. And I think we've done good business so far in terms of ins. And the reason why I say that as well is I've been shouting for the club to start bringing in players before we sell players, and we've done that this window. I've asked the club to act early in the transfer window. We've done that this window, and for me, we've been the talk in the window, and we've done the best business this window.
So what's your score?
You know what? I'm bumping it up. After that talk, I'm bumping it up, man. An 8. I'm going for an 8 right now.
I love it. We'll get a 9 by the end of the show. The ball.
Wait. Sorry, Dave. What's your number? What's your number?
I said 8.5. 8.5.
Thus far.
Thus far. It could change. It could get worse. It could. Well, no, it probably won't. It probably only get better if I'm being realistic with myself. But big up the boat.
Unsigned players, can you?
No, you can't. Big up the boat. I really appreciate the support, my man. Franco Martini says, does anyone in the panel think that Conte will accept a 6th defeat in a row versus Chelsea? Doesn't sound like the Conte I know. Anyone feel strongly about this and want to come in?
Of course, we're not going to accept another defeat to Chelsea. I don't know. Did any of you watch the Conte 2,202 thing?
I'm watching it tonight.
202 games. Well, 202 days, whatever it was. Yeah. I watched it.
Did you watch
great.
it?
It was great. Yeah.
Did you see how upset he was after those Chelsea games?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's not happening again.
I've got someone logging, so I'll be watching that tonight.
Nice. Same here, Dave. I text you about it. I voice note you.
Yeah, exactly. We're watching together, mate. We're having a watch on party, mate.
I genuinely think we're beating Chelsea, or at least getting a draw in that second game of the season. Like we were saying before, I don't think Chelsea are going to be ready for the season first few games. We've got the majority of our signings in for pre-season. It's going to be massive, and I think we can really teach them a lesson.
I agree.
I love that. Anyone else anything to say on to Franco Martini here, Sean Daigle?
Yeah,
I wish we were playing them. I think I'd rather play them at home. I would rather have had Southampton away on the first game and then Chelsea at home. There's something a little bit more difficult about playing them away from home. But if we had played them at home, I think we would have smashed them. I'm still optimistic for the same reasons that Ben mentioned. But.
Can I just say to Moondog on the super chat earlier about the
big up Franco Martini. Really appreciate the support, my man. Just quickly, look, I don't think Conte will accept it. I don't think Kane's son going into the new season will accept it or roll over either. I think Chelsea have massive problems, especially with their defence. Can we take it to them? Can we dominate the possession and give them a good run in their backyard? I really do believe so, Franco Martini. Big yourself up and really appreciate the support, brother. Top man, and really appreciate it. Daigle Moondog says, Brian, you was convinced Conte wasn't coming. Look what happened with that tattoo. Look. And look, before we let Daigle go off, I didn't even think it was going to happen either. I think nobody believed it was going to happen, to be fair. But go on, Daigle.
Yeah, no, that's the thing I was saying. Listen, I was convinced because of going back to my alcohol analogy. We hadn't seen it happen, and we fucked up the first time. But there was one thing missing from the summertime was not Don for me just yet, but getting there.
Hey, he's done it. Big up.
No, don't get it wrong. We are getting there. Put it this way: if he pulls
what
off
is this whole issue with calling him the Don?
No.
The whole issue. It's a nickname. It's a nickname.
But this is the thing. If he goes and signs the player, like I said, like the one that I think is going under the radar, I will call him that 1,000,000,000%. And when it comes to this lovely
call him it anyway. It's a nickname.
When it comes to this lovely tattoo here, I actually it was a win-win for me because I wanted to get a new tattoo anyway. And then I said something on We Are Tottenham TV, and for me, getting that tattoo was more about my integrity and doing what I said and following through on something and being a man of my word than my doubts on Tottenham Hotspur. But yeah, you're very right. I did doubt that, so maybe I should doubt the. I don't. Yeah, so maybe I should go back to doubting a big fish is going to come in because then they might come in. I don't know which way to look at it.
Big up, Moondog.
Back to the Don thing for a second. Like, no one thinks twice to call Kulusevski Deki or Romero Kuti. Like, what's this whole issue with calling him the Don? It's just a nickname.
I love it. Look. It is a nickname at the end of the day. It was started by me. It's probably my fault, but I like bigging people up. It's the thing I like to do. I like blowing smoke up their arse. Can you smell what the cow is brewing? He says, thus far, I have been impressed.
Thus far!
with that word thus far, I feel like I'm listening to a bit of Shakespeare or something. Absolutely love it. Big up, Benji. Good to see you in the building. Dark Zone G says, I want to see Gil as our cam this season. Look, he's got pre-season. I think he will go out to Korea unless someone comes in with a loan. I'm hoping he lives up to the Gil Messi nickname I gave him.
Yeah, he's not going to play a minute.
I think he's going to Korea. He's going to Korea. He'll go out on loan. I don't think
he won't play. He won't play in the Premier League. I don't think.
No, I agree with you there. Yeah.
You don't think? Yeah. Look, it'd be interesting. Let's see what happens with Gil Messi. All he needs is a game preseason. Could change some minds. Doubtful. But who knows? Big up, Dark Zone G. Then we'll take this one from OG Low, and then we have one from Moondog, and we'll crack on with the 150 million question I have for everybody. OG Low says it's a 7.5, but if Endom fat ass signed a contract with Spurs till 2050, then I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Ha ha. I sincerely hope you mean that ha ha at the end, to be honest. I really, really do. This guy has turned around after 3 years and said, potentially I might find happiness at Tottenham Hotspur. 3 years after we've laid out 200 grand a week plus 60 odd million on the fucker. He absolutely pisses me off. And look, I'm not going to sit there, massage his feet, rub his shoulders, and whisper in his ear, beg him to play. It should not happen at a club like Tottenham. These players should come here and should want to play. They should want to give it every last inch for the fans on the football pitch. No more end on fat ass, leave him behind on pre-season and put the pressure on him to instruct his agent to find him a new McDonald's to fuck off to. Big up, OG Low. Really appreciate the support. But look, I'm sorry, when it comes to Tanguy Ndombele, I'm a reasonable man. There are things you can change my mind on, but Ronald McDombele is not one of them. I do apologise, OG Low.
Join the club.
He's just not one of them. Look, I did ask a question on the fan show yesterday. I suppose we'll go around the panel quickly just to give just for OG Low. Quick thoughts on it, because I really do want to move on to 2 more questions I have left. Sean, would you give Ronald McDombele, Lord of the French Fries, another chance?
You're sure? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Would I give him another chance? It depends on what we do with the rest of the season, with the rest of the window. If we don't sign anybody in the playmaker role and if these conditions are met. One is we don't sign anybody else in the central midfielder role. 2 is he has shown nothing short of incredible excellence and incredible determination and incredible focus to the people that matter, that watch him every day, that see him going above and beyond in training to the point where everyone's like, holy shit, I've never seen this version of him before. Then I'd give him 20 minutes in career, see what happens. But on that basis only,
20 minutes.
On that basis only, I'll give him 20 minutes in career. If he doesn't score a hat trick, then at the club you go. But
love it.
Anything short of that, then absolutely not.
Love it. Diego, Tanguy Ndombele.
Well, you did a poll for your fan show the other day, and I said my answer was. David, I think you've left out a category which should have been nope, no, never, not in a month of Sundays, not if hell freezes over, not a chance, get him out of my club. I don't want him anywhere near anywhere. Everyone's saying, go train with the youth and teach him a lesson. No, I don't want Alfie Devines, my boy Alfie, and the others to have anything to do with him. You've had 3 years being poncing 200 grand a week. But mate, I'm so with you on this. There are a lot of things that I will say yes and no to, but this is the biggest hell no.
Do you think he'll play? Do you think he'll play in career?
I wouldn't even waste the airfare on him. If he could,
he's not going career.
You know what?
He's not going to career.
You don't think he's going to go?
I'd let him play. I'd let him play in career if he swam there. If he swam there, it's not worth the airfare.
Okay.
So no.
You don't, Ben. You don't even think he's going to career?
No, I don't. I think I don't think Lo Celso's going either. I think a lot of them that he's planning to sell. I think now's the best time to get them out while the squad's in Korea. Leave these guys behind, and Paratici can work his magic and get these guys out of the club once and for all. I think that's what's going to be the situation. We've heard, I don't know which reporter said it, but he said that Conte is willing to leave players at home if they're not part of his plans. And I don't think Ndombele is part of the plans, and he's going to have to do a hell of a lot to sway Conte around, and there's just no time to do that unfortunately for him. And apparently I saw a tweet, I don't know how true it is, but it said, you know, when they come back from pre-season, they plug them in and get all their numbers about their fitness and everything like that. Apparently he was the worst by far.
Yeah.
On
There you go.
stats, on the metric, on his. Okay.
Yeah.
He was last in the warm-up as well, in the jogging. Very last
Yeah.
as well.
Really?
Big up, OG
Interesting.
Little One. Hopefully you enjoyed the panel's answer to your super chat, my man. Big yourself up, brother, and really appreciate the support. Absolute legend. And Moondog says, big up, Brian. I love the tattoo, mate.
Big up.
Big up, my man. Big up. Absolute legend. Everybody keep smashing that like button. Keep smashing that subscribe button. It's absolutely brilliant for this channel if you do that. 558 people watching, so it should equal on the likes as well. Everyone big yourself up. Big up, Moondog. Really appreciate the support. So, look, we'll move in. I've got 2 more questions left that I kind of want to get through. And give me a second. I just need to find where I have them. So, yes, about the 150 million. It's in the title, so let's get on to it. Tottenham have been shrewd in their business, even though they've been given 150 million cash injection to help improve their squad. Benji, we'll start with you. Do you like that Spurs are still being frugal, being smart with their money, despite having more transfer funds than usual?
Yeah, I do. Because we've seen so many clubs, the Man Uniteds of this world, Arsenal, 75 million on Pepe, It's not about how much money you spend, it's about who you bring in at the end of the day. And Bissouma for 25 million, an amazing deal. Richarlison, yeah, you can argue maybe we overpaid for him for 60 million, but that's showing that, we are spending the cash. So I think that the players that we've brought in are good players and they're value for money players, and they're going to help us, and they're going to hopefully push us onto the next level, which I think they will. And look, obviously everyone wants to see a £100 million player come in and stuff like that, but ultimately you need to be smart with your money. And even so, 150 million in this day and age isn't even that much, let's be honest.
Yeah, look, I agree. I'm actually happy that, look, Bissouma 25 million, Perisic on a free, bringing in Fraser Forster on a free. I think we've definitely done some very, very frugal business. And the reason why I keep using frugal is because I learned it today. As everyone knows here, I try to pick one word out of the dictionary every day, learn it, and try to use it. So big up.
That's awesome.
I try to be smarter, Sean. I try to be like you, my man. I try to be like you. There you go. Do you think Paratici and Levy are avoiding a Gareth Bale type transfer window instead of spending the money all at once and right away? Do you like that Spurs transfer business seems to have a bit more diligence to it?
Yeah, and it has 2 people to thank for that, and that's Paratici and Conte.
Yeah.
Listen, Levy is authorising it. That I don't deny. But I think he's kind of been forced into such a corner where now he's got to, because if this went tits up, we would have gone crazy. But what I will say, obviously, is the money, for me, has been spent very wisely. And just because we got 150 million doesn't mean we're going to spend 150 million. If you get a Bissouma for 25 million...
Wait, what?
Mate, you got to, listen, like I said, I am praising here Conte and...
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Can't believe what I'm hearing, Brian.
No. We've tried to pick up players. Listen, we've got players that have been useless. Like you, Sean, you mentioned the Richarlison thing. Like I said on your stream earlier, we've needed a replacement competition for Harry Kane for 8 years. We need help for Son when he picks up an injury, or keep him fresh. And for 8 years, like the right back situation, we've just bought shit. Whether it be Janssen, whether it be even with the Bow money, Soldado, you got Vinicius, Llorente. So if someone had said 60 million, if someone had said to you 8 years ago, right, you're going to spend 60 million pounds on a player who's been in the Premiership and knows the Premiership, going to have no problem settling into the country because he's been here for X amount of time, but not only can play forward as striker and backup or competition for Kane, he can cover the whole right line or the whole attacking line. 8 years ago, we would have said, just go fucking spend the money. Just like we say with Kyle Walker. So it may not be everyone's cup of tea, the style of player he is, but he comes in and all that. Will he adapt to England? Will he learn English? Will he be able to play in the Premier League? All those factors are taken out of the equation immediately.
Is this is the line that you're currently pushing, for the sake of debate? Because I haven't had an argument for at least a few hours. So
and we've been for a few weeks. So let's do it.
Sean's up for it. Come on, Sean's up for it.
I got to just push it for a second. See where your trigger is, right? If you don't mind, Dave. If you don't mind.
I'm always ready to go mad at you. So let's see if we can find that switch once again.
let's not get lost in it for too long. We have to be conscious Benji is here as well. So let's not get lost. But work away.
For the sake of debate, are you in line with the Levy out method on this one? Is everybody that's on this Levy out, team Levy out, are you all on the same page that all of a sudden backing Conte financially is no longer a fucking big deal?
So what I've got to say, obviously, first of all, everyone that's Levy out, I'm not affiliated with. It's not like, oh, if you're Levy out, you know Brian Daigle. It's not like one big worldwide Levy out hoorah where we all get together and have meetings and discuss and get on StreamYard and just have board meetings. It's not that. It's not that. What we standed? What the fuck is wrong with my English? Pass me that dictionary. Say, David, pass me that dictionary. But yeah, what we protested for, whether it be the NFL that I flew over for, whether it be January, that wasn't even going to happen. I started January. The reason I started or January happened was because we wanted action. We wanted the best interest of Tottenham Hotspur, and it weren't happening.
Yeah.
So what's happened now is the best of our, whether you Levy in, Levy out, what we want is investment on the football pitch.
I'm trying to find the consistency for the purposes of an argument, for the purposes of debate. I'm trying to find the consistency because when the £150 million bombshell came in, you and everybody else in that room was like, oh, I'm suspicious. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And we haven't spent fuck all of it.
Yeah, but sure, that's what I'm getting at. Sure.
25 million, 30 million on Basuma, 60 million on Richarlison. We're going to get 30 million back on Bergwijn, right? So we're net 60. Yeah, but you seem happy. Exactly. What you've got to remember, like I said before, just because we've got 150 million, it could be 500 million, it could be 250 million. Doesn't mean I want to see, I'll go out and just spend 150 million on one great player, brilliant, done. But that always used to be the argument. No,
sure, it wasn't always the argument. It has never, ever been the argument. I wanted my club, as did all Levy outers, to see, instead of just advancing us commercially, we invest on the pitch and invest properly with what the manager wants. I'll go back to Harry Redknapp with Cahill and Tevez, and we got Nelson and fucking Zaha. When it came to, he wanted
Grealish or Fernandez,
and he brought in Benjamin Stambouli. That's the thing. But we've been spending money.
So the team Levy out are happy?
Yeah, but this is what you got. Team Levy, see, this is the thing, Sean, and it's happening on Twitter a lot. You'll see that right now there are a load of dickheads on Twitter going, "Oh, where are all the Levy out lot? Where are all the Levy out lot?" That it was all part of a 20-year plan. I'm like, yeah, okay, 20-year plan. We've got nothing. Listen, I wanted Daniel Levy to sell up or invest in the club, as did Levy out people that I'm with, and he's invested in the club.
So happy then?
Huh? Right now, I'm still Levy out. He's made a start. He has made a start with Paratici and
It's so weird to me because for the first time in my life, you are more happy than I am. Because I'm not happy. I'm happy with Basuma. I'm happy with Perisic, but I still worry about Perisic. Basuma, I'm over the moon with. But I ain't fucking happy with Richarlison. I ain't fucking happy with what we're doing right wing back. And I'm not. And Longley, I'm good as a stopgap. But for the first time,
Sean, the tide was turning with you ever since I told you about the cup final. That was it. You're the biggest. You're the Levy out poster boy now.
I like to maybe I like to be the fucking devil's advocate on everything. I don't know, but I'm just like I can't. I'm surprised because I would have thought that Brian, I would have thought you would have been less happy than I am, and you're not. You're happier than I am. Like I'm okay with whether I think it's a 7 so
Sean,
far.
let people be happy.
You know why I'm happy? Because if you look at it, sorry,
I'm happy for people to be happy. I just want somebody has to be unhappy.
Listen,
So if it has to be me, it's going to be me.
No, Ellie, I told you that in secret. But listen, what I'm saying
I
is,
have to be the unhappy one.
Look at it from last window, where we signed Brian Hill, Golini, Mate Sarr, Romero. That's 4 players. One of them fantastic. The other 3 useless at the moment. At the moment, right now, people have, what we've invested in right now. Forrester obviously not because he's a backup keeper, but each one of them will walk into the first team squad.
I'm just surprised that someone who has been leaving out for so long.
I still am.
Sean, are you happy with how how clever we've been in terms of the spend? Are you happy with it?
In all seriousness, I am happy with what we're doing. I still want us to sign. If we don't sign a marquee, if we don't get someone bigger name, not necessarily monetarily speaking, but if we don't sign a right wing back that really makes me say, oh, and fuck me, then I'm not going to be happy. If we have just Lenglet as our centre back addition, then I'm not going to be happy. But I was. I haven't had an argument for 3 hours, and Brian, I thought we were going to have some sort of argument, and I'm surprised how content you are.
Mate, listen, the final thing I'm going to say, listen, like I said, what you've got to remember is I am Levy out. I still am.
I know you are.
I still am Levy out.
I know you are.
But this is the thing. He has made a start. And listen, that window that we've had so far, if someone had said that to you a couple of years ago, you'd be like, that's going to happen, of course. But it has happened. And that's all I've wanted. I will stay Levy out until I see this consistently happening over 3, 4, 5 years. And when I say that, I don't mean signing 6, 7 players. Like Ben said earlier, right now, we've got to make up for all the fuck-ups that have gone wrong.
Wait. Ben
and
said,
then once it's there, you just have quality.
Brian, Ben said earlier he wanted to see 3 more signings.
No, I'm talking about a stream when he was on Tottenham on tour earlier.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Not this stream. So,
okay.
Forgive
me.
Yeah,
but Ben, earlier on this stream, you just say you want to see 3 more signings, right? What does that look like for you? Who are those 3?
I don't know who they are. A centre back, a right wing back, and like a number 10 attacking midfielder that can play maybe a bit deeper as well. Like attacking central midfielder.
And if you
I don't know who they are in names.
If you had to pick, one of them was a marquee, working within the realms of reality, given that it's unlikely that Bastoni's going to leave, he just doesn't want to go. Guardiola doesn't want to go, right? So, and I don't know what Hakimi, everyone talks about Hakimi, but there's no reason
Hakimi's not leaving PSG.
Yeah, okay. So if you had to pick a name that was within the world, the realms of reality, and one of those positions, whether it's a centre-back, right wing-back, or creative midfielder, which position do you want to see someone holding the shirt in? If you could take your pick, and which player would that be within the realms of reality, just for argument's sake?
Probably at centre-back, I'd like to see Bremer in, and at right wing-back, I'd probably like to see a Dumfries in, someone like that.
Okay. And in the 10 role?
I really wanted Eriksen. That was the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think later on in the window, some sort of opportunity will present itself, and then maybe they'll step up at it. But I think the centre back and the right wing back are the most 2 important for me. And I think if it is Bremer and Dumfries, spend 60 million on the pair of them, I think that's unbelievable business.
Yeah. I'm up for that.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, we'll crack on with the super chats, and then we'll get to the last question of the evening. And maybe some people can start putting their answers in the chat already. Can Conte surpass what Pochettino done with Tottenham? Dark Zone G says 8.75. He's given the rating, the window of the rating, in my opinion, because Vinicius, Clark, Richarlison's better, Harkelini, Forrester's better, Tanguy plus Lascelles and Winks, Basuma's better, Rodon and Sanchez, Langlet's better, Aurier and Trippier, Perisic is better, and it's hard to argue with the guy. It is hard to argue. He's laid out the names there. I agree, Dark Sun G. I agree. I think we've had a good window, and it was all about making strides. We had a lot of business to do. The fact that we've got 5 done already, and we still have another 6 weeks left of the window, it means it gives us plenty of time to do a lot more business. Absolutely love that, Dark Sun G. Absolutely love the positivity. It's flowing through the veins. How's your father, by the way? I'd say he's raging. You know, Liverpool haven't done too much business this window. I'd say he's getting a bit scared now. Big up, Dark Sun G, especially since Conte's got his number. Big up, my man. Really appreciate support. Tot943 says, why have we still not brought in a stellar player? I mean, I'm happy with the business. I think Dagan and Ben are happy. So, Sean, this one will go to you. Why have we not brought in a stellar player?
We have Heritage.
Yeah.
We have Bissouma.
So we have.
We have Richarlison. Sean?
Richarlison ain't it. Richarlison ain't it. The other two, 100% agree with. Why are we still important? I think that I hope that there's someone else. And by the way, just for anyone that's in the comments that's getting a little bit annoyed, I'm just playing the devil's advocate, winding people
Devil's
up.
advocate.
You know I do that. I'm just.
He loves an argument. He loves an argument.
I like to sort of spike some sort of debate, but it's all in good jest. I think that we have already signed it with two really good players. In Perisic and in Bissouma. I think they're going to absolutely improve us. I genuinely, joking aside, do worry about Richarlison. I think he is a player that has an attitude that might not jive well with the merry-go-round of the forwards, and I don't know how Harry Kane or Sonny are going to jive with the idea of being rotated. I know it's part of the play. I know it's what Man City do and Liverpool do, and therefore we have to think it like a big club to be a big club, etc. I just think that Harry Kane's never had to actually deal with that role, right? And neither has Sonny. And so I just think that my initial suggestion is it sounds good on paper having rotation. It sounds good on paper having players being able to flip out and flip in. I just worry about how the guy that we picked is going to deal with not playing the minutes that I think he's not going to get. And I worry about the minutes that he is going to get. Who is it that's going to be happy to receive them? We haven't seen Harry Kane being really challenged. We haven't seen Sonny being really challenged for his position. And Kulusevski, the one time we did, he came back out fighting fast and fighting hard. And I was really impressed. But I just think it could be disruptive. Like, sue me.
Sean, do you not think that a change of system as well will help that? Because, in some games we can play Sonny and Richarlison up top with Kane in behind in a 5-3-2, 3-5-2.
Well, yeah, but then okay, yeah, and that will again be an experiment. I'm not saying that the experiments aren't going to work. I'm just saying that they are experiments, and therefore, as a creator of content, as a fan channel, why not discuss what could happen in those scenarios? And for me, I just think that you could have chosen somebody else for a lot lesser money that could have come in and been more willing to play the role. And the choice that we've made, I think, is somebody who's a bit like, Kyrgios, the tennis player, reminds me very much of him. And I worry that
quality though. He's top quality.
Top quality player, but also an absolute smoking, ticking time bomb. And I just worry. I hope I'm entirely wrong. I hope that Richarlison is more than happy to play 40% of the games on the bench. I also hope that when Harry Kane's number gets held up, he just walks off, he jogs off and gives a high five, and there's no problem. I hope that those things all play out. I just don't think they will.
Yeah. Look, I think Richarlison is. Look, I'm not going to get too hung up on this, Sean, because we've done this 2 hours earlier on. I'll bring you back on Saturday, and we can get hung up on it for sure. But just quickly, I think, look, Richarlison knew the situation he was walking into. I think he also believes he can maybe dislodge Kulusevski. I think with the World Cup around the corner, I think he's going to come in here fit, focused, and ready to fire. Will he be unhappy? I think every footballer's unhappy when they don't play, to be honest with you. But I think he's also stepped up levels, and I think for a season or two, he'd be happy to play the role that he was told he was going to play when he was brought in here. But look, we won't get hung up on it. We've done this for hours today. Sean is loves it. He loves it. I'm
getting a hard time in the comments, and that's cool. It's okay. But all I'm positioning is a reality that may play out. So don't complain. Don't be shocked if it happens. Is all I'm saying.
Don't go complaining to Sean if it happens. That's what he's saying. Big up everyone. Essa Al-Shamari absolutely smashed that out of the park. Give me a baseball bat. I nailed that name. Big up, my man. Could have been a tricky one. He says that net 60 million could be used for when Bastoni is available, for example. Not a bad way of looking at it, Essa. Benji, do you think that could be the case?
I mean, look, I think you've got to spend the money now, and you've got to get your targets in for this season. I think, it's been a good move maybe getting in Lenglet in case Bastoni or Gvardiol come available next season. But look, I'm not thinking about that now. I'm not worried about that now. All I'm worried about is this coming season, and I think we're all right. We're doing well. We're doing well, so there's nothing to worry about.
What I will say, is that the fact that we've loaned in Lenglet, it does look like we were saving big money to spend out somewhere in defence, whether it's right wing back or centre back. But Bastoni,
money's not an issue at Tottenham Hotspur anymore.
No,
it's a thing of the past.
Not an issue. But with Bastoni, Inter Milan still need to sort of sell players. So we'll just see how that plays out for the rest of the window. Big up Elsa, or not Elsa, sorry, you're not whatever that Disney shit is. Essa, sorry, my man, big yourself up. Really appreciate support. Dark Zone G says we spent our money wisely so far. Look at Gunners last year and Grealish for City. They spent so much money that didn't help them at all. So keep on. Look, Dark Zone G, what I will say is even just look at the business this year. They announced Vieira. We announced Basuma. They announced Marquinhos, the young 17 Brazilian. We announced Perisic. They go for Gabriel Jesus. We bring in Richarlison, who starts ahead of Gabriel Jesus for Brazil anyway. We have trumped them this window, and they cannot handle it. And do you know why? Every Spurs fan warned them it was coming because of the manager we have, the director of football we have, and Champions League pull. That's why. But that's a different discussion to get into on Saturday. But even look at the business we've done this year. I think we're going to blow Arsenal out of the water. I think they were the beneficiaries of having one game a week last season. This season, not going to happen. You also look at it. Can Gabriel Jesus be the line? Can Richarlison? Yes, he can. Big up, Dark Song G. Really
Arsenal are done and dusted, my friends. Done and dusted. They're done. I'm telling you. They can't get anywhere near our level next season. I'm telling you that now.
All Arsenal fans need to remember is Champions League has faded away.
Just try not to worry.
You play on Thursday.
You fake COVID test. So
And
we
we
smashed
smashed
you in
you in
May.
May.
Stop crying, Arteta. You mug. Keep crying. Big
Ben,
up,
you look like you're doing it for the deaf community. You're that subtitles guy in the corner.
Yeah, that's
to all
what
these here on the Irish Hotspur.
Irish Hotspur provides subtitles. That's what, or not sign language. Sign language. That's what we have to do. Big up. Tim Man 007. Haven't seen you in a long time, brother. How are you keeping? Hope you are keeping well. He says Levy should sign up Conte for the next 3 years to show that we are building not just for now, but for the future. I mean, Daigle, Ben, you're nodding your head. Do you just want to crack on this one?
Go on, after you, Ben.
Away,
Okay.
Dave.
All right, go listen.
Take it away, there you go.
The biggest signing, where everyone's going on about this, Conte has still got this season only on his contract. Yes, there's an extension for 18 months. The biggest signing we can make this window is this man putting pen to paper. Because then it'll be like, right, okay, here we go. He is staying. Then if he does stay, then you know he's gone, right, you've backed me this summer. I've got faith in him signing that contract should put fear into every single Premier League team, including Man City. It is the biggest signing we can make. And I'd probably say if he signs that contract, it's the biggest signing in Spurs' history. And I'm talking players, anything. This is, we've been at, when we signed him, he is Spurs' greatest ever manager that we brought in. Bill Nick will always be the king of Tottenham. He's Mr. Tottenham and will always be, but he was within house.
Yeah.
This guy, when we hired Bill Nick as well, he wasn't at the pinnacle and the elite standard that Conte is. He got there with Tottenham. This man signing the contract is the biggest signing this club could ever make, ever, or in our history, shall I say.
I love it. Benji, anything you want to say? Tim Man 007, then we'll take 2 more super chats and we'll move on to the last question so we can let Benji go off and watch the rest of Love Island on repeat. But Benji, anything you want to say to Tim Man 007?
Yeah, I got there was a tweet earlier on saying this journalist came out and was like, Lisandro Martinez is giving his decision on Man United or Arsenal. And apparently another player has bitten the dust for Arsenal. And apparently Lisandro Martinez has chosen Manchester United, yet another player to turn down Arsenal in this current transfer window. So cry, Arteta, cry.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Big up Tim Man 007, brother. Really appreciate the support, and I do hope you are doing well. Benedict Campus says, great show, lads. Question, are we not slightly concerned about Kane's contract situation? 2 years left, no updates. starting to feel slightly perilous. Now, love the word, Benedict. I'll have to learn that one. That's on my list for tomorrow. But Shawnee, I mean, what would you say to Benedict? Should we be slightly concerned about his situation?
You asking me?
Oh, Shawnee.
Sean.
Me? Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes, I am. I think that, in my opinion, I disagree with Brian. I actually think that Kane's contract is more important than Conte's. I think that Conte's situation can wait, until January, till February. Like, depending on how we're doing, will depend on how likely he is to sign. I don't want to sign the guy up for 3 years right now. I'd rather wait and see, because I don't think that this whole, like, I'm getting a little bit bored of this Conte knows best narrative nonsense. I'm getting a little bit tired of it, if I'm entirely honest. Like, I'm standing like Alex THFC here, but like,
he does know best.
Well, he knows okay. But if you actually go back and look at his time when he signed new contracts at Inter, when he signed his second contract.
Can I ask you one question about that? Sorry, just one
Not
question.
until I finish my rant.
No, I want to put in the one caveat that Spencer Arnold has said, which was going to be my question as well, is do you think, I personally think what he said is right as well, Conte signs, Kane signs. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
But Kane signs, Conte signs. You could argue it in the reverse, right? So,
yeah. But I'd rather it the other way. I think the first one's more
and
important.
that's fine. But I don't. The reason I don't is because I think that if you actually look, there's a little bit of a track record. Conte, you could almost make the argument. I don't want to extrapolate this to the point where people are saying, well, Adebayor is like Conte, but Adebayor used to have a record of just doing sweet FA, and then as soon as it came to contract time, turning it on, and then as soon as he got his new deal signed, he turned it off. And Conte, if you actually look back at the times when he signed his renewals at Chelsea, when he signed his renewals at Inter, Inter. If you actually look back as well at his previous clubs, there's a little bit of a track record of he signs a renewal and then suddenly the shit hits the fan, right? So I don't want Conte to sign his renewal.
What happened at Inter? When did he sign that contract?
I mean, this is what
Did you just say he signed a contract at Inter?
His renewal contract. His second.
He didn't sign a renewal contract, did he? Did he only sign for 1 year at the beginning?
Well, he stayed for 2 years, right?
I'm saying, did he only sign a 1 year contract originally?
That's what I've read. I could be wrong.
Even so, like, even if he signed it, he still went on and won the league, and then Inter started selling off all his best players.
Maybe so, but you're calling me out now. But from what they're calling me out of an argument I haven't fully baked. But I worry about whether Conte is going to be the sort of guy who is going to who signs his new deal, because he definitely did it at Chelsea. Signed his new deal, the problems only started after the renewal. The contract. He signed his contract, then the problem started. I don't know if that's
true, though. I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe you can call me out with it afterwards, but let me finish my point, and you can call me out on if it's
not.
So
the other thing I just want to add to that, and again, I want to call someone out who is actually, I can't find the comment now, but they said it right. And you got to remember, if Conte signs, Harry Kane knows, right, he's to be here minimum 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done. But if Kane signs before Conte, he could know that Conte could walk out. I don't know. I've lost the person that put it in the comments. But if Kane signs the contract and then Conte pisses off, he's in I've signed a new contract. I'm fucked. I can't get out of it. Yeah. But if he sees Conte sign and he's like, right, this guy has committed for 3 years. I don't know if he'll stay the full way, but it's certainly a lot more than 18 months.
Why can't Conte? We spent the entire first year of forget everything else I just said. Let me just focus this. We spent the entire first year of his 2 year contract worrying about whether he's going to walk out. Anybody else, any other manager, does their job and waits and fixes it. Why is he different? I love Conte. Don't get me wrong.
You know why he's different? He's because he's an unbelievable manager, and
you can make the same argument about Tuchel, about Pep Guardiola, about about.
Forget them. We're talking about Conte, and I'm talking about Conte does not stick around if he doesn't believe.
But
he's
everyone
got
was
enough
worried that
tools
he was
win
going to
anything.
walk out after 1 year. Everyone was.
Yeah, but I don't think
the entire media was like, "Is he going to stay? Is he going to go?" How about shut the fuck up, Conte? Stop going to talk to Sky Italia. Stop talking when we're on this 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss routine. Stop like positioning yourself. Just get on with the job that you're paid.
It's all part of the plan.
Maybe it is. But at the same time, I feel like we are positioning this guy on a fucking pedestal. He's getting paid to do a job. A lot of fucking money, by the way. Dave, how many times do I have to say it to you on your channel in the season? 15 million quid a season.
And who are we going to get after him? Who are we going to get after him that's going to be any good?
That's besides the point, Ben. Right? £15 million, more money than any player, than any chairman, than any executive, than any coach, than anything else at Tottenham Hotspur.
He deserves it.
Maybe he does. I'm not saying I don't want the guy to be happy. I want him to get paid the money that he's paid, which is more than any other fucking manager in world football, right? And appreciate what you've got, bro. Because there's a lot of people out there that can't afford to fucking fill their petrol tanks. Stop. Every time things go wrong, I hated that, Dave. You know how I feel with. I hated his press management. I absolutely couldn't stand by it. I know he got the job done. I get he got the job done, right? And I love him and I want him to stay. But he's still in contract. He doesn't need to sign his new contract immediately. Harry Kane is also under contract. For me, Harry Kane is worth 100 million quid. No manager has a sell-on value right now. You can't sell Antonio Conte for 70. Hang on, let me finish. I'm almost done. You can't sell Antonio Conte for 60 million quid to Manchester City, right? With 1 year left on his contract. But you can sell Harry Kane. So for me, to answer your initial question, Dave, who's the more important signing? It's Harry Kane all fucking day long over Antonio Conte, especially if Antonio Conte is the sort of person who the second that you lose a game to Burnley, he starts to complain and moan and say, maybe this isn't good enough for me.
Look, I get why you can be unhappy, but for me, I think it's a part of, look, Conte had to do things like that in order to whip people into shape, in order, maybe some players were starting to slack off, and it's like, look, I can leave and you can bring in another Nuno, you can bring in an anyhow, or you stay and you do what I need you to do in order to get results. And I believe the reason why he was the way he was last season is because he looked at the squad. He knew straight away it's a tough ass to do what he done, get us Champions League. He looked at the bench most days. There was barely anybody he could bring on to try and change games. And I think the reason why he was the way he was to try and change Daniel Levy's mindset, along with Paratici as well, that they have to back him. They have to give him what he wants, and he's earned that. But Benedict, my man, look, I'm not worried about Kane. I think Kane was signed on the dotted line. I'll be honest, I think it could be done before the end of the window. That's just my opinion. I think Harry Kane asked us to bring in transfers, bring in players that can help him win trophies. I think we're doing that. So if we could get in another one or two, I think you'll see a Kane contract. I think Conte might hold out till around November. And I think you might see a Conte contract if we have a good start to the season, my man. Brian, Ben, anything you want to say on this? And then we'll take
the thing I'll just add very quickly is when people talk about Conte and his 15 million, that's what the club offered him. He's not going to say, no, that's too much. Let's make this, pay me less. He got offered that by the club. So when you talk about his value,
he got offered less and he rejected it.
Yes, it's hard to say, oh, you're on 15 million. That's what we offered him. That's not Conte's fault. Like we said with Richarlison, it's not his fault he cost 60 million. That's where the market is. It was 60 million to get him. So when Tottenham go, right, this is your package, he took that. So when it comes to Conte, listen, to me, I can understand what Sean's saying. But with me as well, with Kane, if Kane just sees out his contract and we don't sell him, I mean, I personally think if that happened, we'd let him go on a free rather than sell him with 1 year left on his contract. Even with 1 year on his contract, he ain't going to be 100 million. He's another year older. There's no way Harry Kane holds up 100 million on the last year of his contract. If he was a 23, 24-year-old, yeah, I don't think in the last year of his contract he would be a 100 million player, Sean.
So who's worth more? Sorry, quickly. Okay, Ben, who's worth more to you, Tottenham or Conte or Kane?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Or Brian? Me?
No, to you. Conte or Kane?
It's a big question. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I think they're probably both as equally important to our future as each other, to be honest. And I wouldn't like to choose between the two. And at the end of the day, you knew what you were getting. Everyone knew what you were getting when you're bringing in Antonio Conte. You know you're getting the fire that he brings in interviews, on the training pitch, on the sidelines. And you're going to start trying to get him to tone down. You don't want to take that fire out of his belly. You want him to show what he's done at other clubs. And this is exactly what he's done at other clubs. And he wins titles by doing it.
Were you okay with the way he spoke? Were you okay with the way he called us out called out Tottenham when we won one, lost one? It was just his routine. One day he's like he wants to quit. He doesn't know if we're good enough. The next day he's like, this team is the best team that ever happened. He loves it. It's the best players.
I'm not okay with it in an isolated situation. But if it's something planned out and that's got a means to an end, which I genuinely believe that it did have, then I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think you got to do what you got to do to get things done sometimes.
Okay.
Big up, Benedict Campos, my man. Really appreciate support, Benedict. Big yourself up, brother. Sparked a real debate there, my man. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. We'll take this from Dan Coyes and then we'll get on to the last question of the evening and then get to the rest of the super chats. Dan Coyes says it's not what we want to hear, but Bentancur and Decky were brought in late in the window. But look how well they've done. There's still time. Come on, you Spurs. And look, I think that's Look, we were linked with Kulusevski before the window. I think Juventus always had plans to go for Vlahovic, and that's why we were comfortable to hold out. And Kulusevski was free, and then Zakaria became available. That's why we were able to get the double and get Bentancur in. Look, I agree with you, Dan. I think there's still time to get some big business done. I think loaning in Lenglet kind of maybe suggests to me that we will spend big on the centre-back, and that there's still time to spend big on a right wing back as well, because we still have players to sell. So, look, Dan, let's wait and see. But 6 weeks left. It's definitely exciting. A lot of the business already done. Let's see what there is left that we can do, my man. Absolutely. Really appreciate the support, brother. And then last question I kind of wanted to get into, boys, last topic. And that is about where are we? Conte and Pochettino, since we're on the subject of Conte. We'll start with you on this, Ben. Do you see us surpassing the levels we were at under Pochettino with Conte and get back to challenging for major honours again?
You got to think about it like this as well. I think we can surpass maybe and get to similar points tally as we got to in the league, but the league is in a very different space now as it was back then. When we were challenging for titles up there, Man City was still in transition. Pep was getting to grips with things there. Liverpool had just started their journey. Klopp just turned up. We were ahead of Liverpool at those times. First title challenge, we were fighting against Leicester. Second title challenge, we were fighting against Chelsea. So Liverpool and Man City weren't there just yet. So first and foremost, the league is in a completely different shape now as it is then, with the two absolutely dominant sides. So that's a lot harder. But I do think we can get to a very similar points tally. And I think my prediction, actually, I said it before, didn't I? 85 or 86 points. And if Conte stays a further year, then I'm expecting us to do better the following year. So I think Conte also is more likely to deliver a domestic cup than Poch was, because Poch didn't really take them that seriously. The only question mark is Champions League. Obviously, Poch got to a final, and Conte, someone told me today, you told me, Brian, that Conte's never won a knockout round in the Champions League or something.
He's never won a knockout game in the that still, I mentioned it in the but it was a knockout game in the Champions League. He's not won as a manager.
So I do think we're going to get to at least the quarters or something this year in the Champions League, but there's question marks over European football under Conte. But I definitely think we can surpass league tally in terms of points, and we can get domestic cup over the line for sure.
I love that. Benji, are you free to stick around? Do you want to stick around, or do you have to go?
How much longer are you going for?
Well, I just after this question, the super chats, and then that's it. Really, we're out. So it's up to you. I know you're dying to get back and watch Love Island. So you want to stick around? Yeah. Brilliant.
I ain't going fucking nowhere.
Love it. Daigle, same thing. In fact, do you think Conte has, if he can get us back to where we were at Poch, does Conte have what it takes to actually get us over the line this time?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say right now, I think we're going to go flying past what Poch did. Flying past what Poch did. Poch came in as a well-respected manager, but obviously the other teams that he'd been at, Southampton and Espanyol, he got nowhere near the levels he achieved with Tottenham, nowhere near. And then obviously it started falling off, and he wasn't backed. And then obviously people started going, "Why are we working?" So this guy, I don't see, as we know, at the end of the Poch era, there were rumours players were throwing him under the bus and everything. No one will be throwing this man under the bus. I don't think anyone will have the balls to do it, let alone will do it, and you've seen what he's done. And as that famous thing that's got 202 days, that's what he did in 202 days. In the first season, we didn't get Champions League with Poch. The second season, we did. This guy came in November when we were like 9th or whatever it was, with the team depleted, and turned us into a Champions League qualifying team. If this guy is continuously backed, like Ben said, it's going to be very... Beforehand, it was like trying to just overtake Man City or challenging Man City for the title, and Chelsea under Conte, funnily enough. Look what he did with Chelsea in 1 year. So if he is continuously backed, and yes, it's harder to do it, we had title pushes and then we just tailed off. We'll be there again. I honestly reckon we're going to put we'll be going for the title. Like, we'll put in a consistent run, but I think come February, March, we might just trail off. But we're going to be back up there in that conversation. And yeah, listen, he's just got to win a trophy. He's got to win the Carabao Cup. And then he's surpassed what Poch done, in all honesty. He's surpassed... We're all here to say we won a trophy, not say, but Poch got us to the Champions League final. Poch made us undefeated at home for our last season. They're all great things. Amazing. Well done. But I want to see us win trophies. I want to be able to celebrate the great times. And there isn't a manager in world football I'd rather have leading the club, or I think could do it better than Conte.
Yeah, look, I'm on that as well. I think there's no reason why we can't, make a title challenge next year and make a challenge for one of the domestic cups. Champions League will be a different story. But I agree with Ben also. I do think that it's harder now than when Poch had this Tottenham team. But look, I do think we'll definitely be challenging. Shawnee, I mean, look, you've had your... you like to question Conte. You like to. I'll put it that way. You like to.
I love debate. I can't stand shows where everyone agrees all the time. Like, you have to find a way. And that's what I do, Dave. Right? So you wouldn't invite me on if I wasn't like that. But 70% of my position is to have a little bit of controversy, but 30% is based in fact. What annoys me is about how everyone just positions Conte on this pedestal where he's untouchable, unquestionable. Like, I said this to you 1,000 times over the last season on your channel. Right? When we were doing terrible things, let's not forget Conte was in charge of Tottenham when Tottenham played and resulted in their most embarrassing night in 30 years. Right? Losing away when we lost in the conference in the Europa Conference League to the Slovenian Farmers, right? He was in charge for that game, right? So I know he did amazing things. I'm not suggesting I don't love the guy, but I'm just saying he's not unquestionable. He's not someone that you can put on a pedestal and just say he's God. Let's worship him and judge him. And the people that do that now are also the people that will challenge Daniel Levy and chastise the fella regardless of what he does. Not you, Brian. Not you, Brian.
You've got to stop bringing Daniel Levy as an argument into every other argument. If Conte does this, if Richarlison is 60 million...
Just answer my fucking question.
Wait a minute. Wait, bro.
15 super chats to get through. Just answer the question. Let's go.
Just do the super chats. That's okay.
No, let's go. Answer the question. Do you think Conte can surpass Pochettino and what he done with Tottenham?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Stefan Bloy says...
You seem so disappointed about that answer.
No, I was getting cut down, but it's okay.
No,
yes.
I was just saying,
it's all good.
I wasn't. I gave you a chance to answer, and then Daigle came in as well, and I want you to answer the question.
Yes, he can. He can surpass.
Stefan Bloy says, we've never had a window like this, 8 out of 10 easily. Absolutely love that, Stefan. I think we've had a very good window, my man. And so far, and long may it continue. Dark Song G says, Sean, do you want to see Son and K play Championship or League 1 or 2 team 3 days before a Champions League match or a top 6 Premier League team? I don't. He is great for our stamina.
Do you want to see Son and Kane play Championship or League 1 or 2 team 3
I
days
think he
before
means
a
like
Champions
FA
League
Cup and
match
League
or
Cup.
top 6 game? Okay, so what are you saying? That so is the point? Dark Sun G is the point that that's where Richarlison comes in.
Yeah,
So
basically.
so we're spending £60 million on a player, almost club record signing, bar a few pennies, just to come in and do the job against Morecambe next season. Money well spent.
Sean, it's more than that. Let's get realistic.
But that's the question.
No,
right?
hang on. Liverpool brought Jota and Diaz. Do they play more than the cup games? Yes, they do. And the reason Liverpool and City, and I said this to you on your channel earlier, they challenge for quadruples. Why? Because they have players that they can rotate and change depending on the situation. If they're playing at Burnley, they can rotate players and save the players for the Champions League. And there's no reason why Tottenham can't do that.
I'm not saying they can't do that. I'm not saying they can't do it, Dave.
He's going to play in League Cup games and FA Cup games. He will play some Premier League games. There will be other opportunities.
I hope he does, Dave.
Like he's just going to play against Morecambe. It's not going to be the case.
No, I'm answering the question. 5 minutes ago, you cut me off and said, Sean, answer the question. Now I'm answering the question. The question is, do I want to see him play? Do I want to see Richarlison play? Or do I want to see Kane play Morecambe? Yes, I do. I'd rather see Richarlison play. If that's the question that he's asking.
You answered the question, but you answered it sarcastically, giving the thumbs up, using Morecambe. Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's stop trying to play games. You answered it sarcastically. But Dark Sun G, big yourself up. And Sean, I would never do this on your channel either. Stefan Boyce says, if we don't have competition, we don't progress. It's simple. I fully agree with that as well, Stefan Boyce, my man. We definitely need competition, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. This squad needs it. And that was our task this summer, and that seems to be what we're doing, my man. Wolves F1, big up, my man. He says, Dave, big up, lad. I really appreciate that, brother. Big yourself up. What a legend. And I really appreciate the size of it. Tyler D says, wish we skipped Richarlison and spent the big money on Fofana and Pereira from Leicester. Make them an offer they can't turn down. Daigle, would you agree with Tyler D here?
So again, wish we skipped Richarlison, spent the money on Fofana or Pereira. Like, do you know what? I'm not the only reason, like I said, with why I don't agree. I can see where he's coming from, because, like I said, the right wing back is still the most important thing for me, and I just wish we get this sorted. But for 60 million, you're bringing in a player with Premiership experience, and I don't look at it as we only got 10 goals last season with Everton in a struggling Everton. I look at it in the way, if those 10 goals have been added onto our tally of last season, we might have been third. Or we might have got third spot ahead of Chelsea. Right wing back is vital for me, but just as important was to finally, after 8 years, have some competition for Kane and Son, and now Decky as well. That front three last season were electric, absolutely electric, and for them to stay like that, they need support. And the thing is, if you saw last season that Kane or Son were out, you'd be like, oh no, here we go. What's going to happen? Who's going to fill in? Well, now the answer's Richarlison. All right, they're not at the same level, but they're a hell of a lot better. You'd be okay with it. They're a hell of a lot better than a Vinicius, a Llorente, a Janssen. So I agree with how important it is to spend big on the right back, and there's still money to spend on the right back. We've got to remember, we said 150 million. But that's 150 million that was invested. There's still Champions League revenue coming in. There's still the Premiership money coming in for finishing where we did. There's the Sky money. There's the training ground sponsor. There's the sleeve sponsor. There's the AI. There's the NFL. There's the concerts. So I still reckon 60, 80 million is still there for a right wing back. But I do believe we need to spend big on this position. That I do agree with. We need to spend big on right back.
Yeah. Look, it would be nice. I do think, though, Dave, and I was saying this earlier as well. I think, look, coming out of this window, there will be one position where someone will be unhappy that we didn't sign. I think because we had so much to do this window, so many positions to fill, I do fear that maybe coming out of this window, everyone will be unhappy with a position or two. But look, let's wait and see. Tyler D, Big up, my man. Really appreciate the support. Absolute legend. Lazy801 says, Don Fabio and Conte have been playing Levy like a fiddle for months. If Conte signs a longer contract, he loses the power over Levy. Ben, what would you say to Lazy8, my man?
Don Fabio and Conte getting the power over Levy. It's an interesting one because nobody knows actually what goes on behind the doors. I do think that Spurs were planning to spend under Jose Mourinho, and then the pandemic happened and stuff like that. So I'm not sure, because I think the stadium was built for this very reason, right? The stadium was built so Spurs would spend money on players and put a team in it, and it was just delayed because of the stadium, because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So I think he brought in Conte because he wanted to spend money as well, because he knows Conte and Paratici are the best people to do that. So I'm not so sure how true that is, but I'm loving the new turn of events with Levy and Conte and Fabio spending the money.
Yeah. No, look, I definitely think there's been some mind games with what Conte has done last season in terms of the Burnley game, in terms of, when speculation about his future. I do believe it was to try and get the business done this summer, but at the end of the day, he had to prove he could get top four, and he's done that. So look, I think you're definitely onto something there, Nicky boy, my man. I really, really do appreciate the support, brother. Where am I? Big up, Nick, absolute legend. Dark Song G says, Sean, Conte is passionate, is why he makes comments like that when we win. When we win or lose. Also, Conte left his former club because the board sold his best players or brought in Dross replacement. What would you say, Dark Song G?
If I can say my piece without you cutting me down, Dave, I appreciate that.
No, hang on. Let's get this for real, Sean, right? Let's stop this now. Stop this.
Let's have it out. You did.
I didn't cut you down. I don't want to have it out with you. But stop this. I didn't cut you down. I gave you a question. You asked, and then Brian was coming in, and I was just saying, boys, can we get on with answering the question, because I have super chats to get to now. Sean,
I answered the question.
Hang on. When you have super chats on your channel to get to, people sit there and you ask them to respect you and let them get you to and let you get them to it. So why can't you show me the same respect?
I showed you the respect. Dark Sanji, you asked me a question. He said, do you want Kane and Sonny playing against second and third championship level teams? I was answering the question. And you went, that's not good enough. That's sarcastic. Have some fucking respect for my answer, bro.
You were sarcastic. You were like, yeah, we brought him in.
In your opinion, I was, bro. In your opinion, I was.
Let's be real.
Do you want me on the show again?
Beating around the bush. You were.
Let's move on, guys. Come on.
You fucking have some fucking
I'm giving
respect.
the guy the super chat. He doesn't want to answer it. Dark Son G, I'll answer it.
I'm going to leave. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
Fine. Thanks
See
for
you
coming
never.
on. Appreciate it. Yeah, look, I do think Conte is passionate. Look, I do think he makes comments like that to try and get more out of the team after the games as well. I mean, Brian, what would you say to start Dark Song G here?
So sorry, I was just let me just read this because I was just taken over by everything. Sure, Conte is passionate. Makes also Conte left his former club because the board sold his best players or brought in. Yeah, listen, with Chelsea, this is what happened. And at Inter, listen, he won into the league and he seemed very, very happy there. And we know, and this is why I said this. And listen, on Conte's managerial skills, he is elite, and brilliant, and will bring everything. The main thing that I was happy with is this was the manager that was going to flush him out. If this went tits up, then a lot more people would have been seeing things from my side of the view. And like, right, that's it, we're done. We can't progress. We can't move forward. We can't do anything until this man's gone. So he left, and it's what happened with Inter. That's why I was so happy, because Inter, he was like, he just won them the league. He knew that they had to sell players, and he was happy to, but not his best players, like a fire sale, like Leeds had to all those years ago when we got Robbie Keane and they sold Rio, and they sold, oh no, Rio was before, but when Leeds were doing it with a lot of players. So with Antonio Conte, I think he would have left this summer if he wasn't backed. I do. That's my personal opinion. I think there might have been a huge chance of it. And there's not. Listen, in all walks of life, if you're a manager and you're happy with the direction that your job is going in, you stay. If you're not, you seek alternative employment. We're not in the luxury where we can just quit jobs. because we have mouths to feed, rent to pay, mortgages to pay. It's not as easy as being a Premier League manager when you're on big bucks and leaving a job makes. So for me, Antonio Conte stood up for his principles. He's like, do not sell my best players, sell the other one. He was not listened to. Out he went. Out he went. He's like, right, you're not listening to me. I've won you the league. He probably said, listen, sell this one. But they wanted to get the big money in because they had to for obviously rules in China. But yeah, he stood up for what he believed in and was a man of principle. So I being a man of your word and principles mean a lot to me, as people know. So I can't criticise him walking out of Inter, walking out of Chelsea, and if he'd walked out on Tottenham. So yeah.
I mean, Ben, what's your thoughts on Dark Song G Super Chat here, my man?
I completely agree with Brian, to be honest. Completely agree with him. I mean, Conte's a man that sticks by his principles. And if he doesn't feel the chance that he can win at a certain club, he'll leave. And at the end of the day, if he would have left Spurs this summer because he wasn't being backed, who would have begrudged him? I wouldn't, So I think everywhere he's gone, he hasn't thrown his toys out the pram just because he's an erratic guy and without reason. He's done it for specific reasons because the club aren't listening to him and he doesn't think the club's going in the right direction. He doesn't think he can win something. So I completely agree with what Brian was saying.
100%. Big up Dark Song G, brother. Really appreciate the Super Chat and hopefully you enjoyed what the boys had to say on that, my man. Tim Man 007 says, respect Sean, but disagree. It's all part of Conte's management style. We are likely to have Antonio as our manager. We need to keep this guy happy. Best thing that's happened to Spurs for ages. And look, I agree with you. I do think he is the best thing that has happened to Spurs in a long, long time, my man. I do think it's up to us to keep this guy happy. At the end of the day, he didn't have to take this job, and he should be nowhere near this job with the squad we had and where we were. And the fact that we have him, it's up to us to keep him happy in terms of players brought in here, transfer funds available. That's what Liverpool do with Klopp. That's what Man City do with Guardiola. And look at the success they've brought. So hopefully we can do something like that under Pochettino now. Tim Man 007. Big up, my man, and really, really appreciate the support, brother. Dan Coy says, I know Conte hasn't done well in the Champions League knockout stages, but it's the love of the game and uncertainty that anything can happen. Anything is possible. Come on, you Spurs. Brian, or was it Brian or Ben? One of you brought that stat about the knockout stages. I mean, what would you say to Dan?
Look, there's a first time for everything, eh? And that first time for his knockout game is coming this season. But I think that when I look at Conte and his playing style and the tactics he used, I don't know. I think he must have been really unlucky in his knockout games because I feel like the style of football he plays is perfect for knockout football. So I'm not really sure the reasonings why he hasn't done well in Champions League knockout phases and stuff like that. But we're going to do it this year. Quarterfinals minimum, I'm telling you.
I hope so. Big up, Danny boy. Big yourself up. I really appreciate the support, my man. The bottom dude says Conte after the loss to Dortmund. We are talking about players who, apart from Golden, never won anything. Who do we turn to? Berea from Cagliari. And we all know the player he became surprised the way Conte has calmed down here. And then he goes on to say, massive respect to you guys. You have to bring up unpopular opinions to have a debate. Big up and thank you for all your hard work. The bottom really do appreciate that, my man. Look, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, my man. But look, we enjoy it and we love it, or else we would not be doing it, my man. Absolute legend. Really appreciate it. But we'll get back to the first part. I mean, Ben, what do you make of comments like this from Conte after a loss to Dortmund?
I mean, I don't really know the whole context behind the comments, but I do know Barella became a really important part of Conte's team and his system. So I don't read too much into it, to be honest, because Barella became such an important part of Conte's team. So I don't really know what he's trying to get at.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think what he's basically saying is like, the experience, the know-how to maybe deal with these sort of occasions, maybe is what he was getting at to Brian. Do you have any opinions on that, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say has the surprise of the way Conte's calmed down here is we all know what happened after the Burnley defeat, after Man City, where he went absolutely apoplectic and then we're all doing shows. Oh my God, is he about to walk? Is he about to walk? I think he's been very cool and calculated, and he's going to strike. Like Ben said in an earlier topic, when we're talking about, and I think Sean brought it up as well when he was saying he didn't like the way that he 1 minute with the best team and then the next with this. It's carrot and the stick, isn't it? It's carrot and the stick, and I would believe Antonio Conte's done this everywhere he goes, and we've got the trophies to back it up. Or sorry, we haven't. We hopefully will. He has got the trophies to back it up, and like I said again with Levy, hopefully, or flushing out Daniel Levy, if this all went tits up, he's going to do that with the players. That's what he's here for. He's to get rid of the deadwood with Paratici or the surplus players and get the players in that we need. Enough of this 2 years for a player that's not worked out, or 3 years, or 4 years, or here's another contract. At times, he's got to be brutal, and at times, he's got to be as sharp as anything. And I think he's just going to be a more calculated one, not a calmer. I think it's going to be more calculated now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Big up the bottom dude. I really appreciate the support. Dark Zone G says that Conference League match, Conte had no chance because he wasn't used to his new players yet. So I think this season we can see Conte's true skills. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we lost that game. Look, for me, I more so blame the players than Conte. Look, Conte came in, gave players a clean slate, and that's how they repaid it against NS Mora. I put that more on the players than I do on Antonio Conte. Benji, would you agree, or do you think, it is Conte's fault that we lost that?
No, I agree with you, Dave. Same players that lost to Zagreb, same players that lost to Colchester, It's these kind of moments have been following around these players, and all three of those games happened under three different managers, Pochettino, Mourinho, and Antonio Conte. So, and there's been many more of where that come from as well. So, Pacos de Ferreira, did we lose to them? We lost to someone in the conference.
Yeah, we lost to Pacos Ferreiros with Nuno. And you got to remember, like you said, you mentioned Jose. Jose said after the Zagreb game, same players, different manager.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he said.
And he was spot on. Exactly. So I don't put any blame on Conte. If you give Conte what he wants, you give him time, he's going to give you the rewards. Yeah, 100%. Look, big up Dark Zone G, brother. Really, really do appreciate the support, my man. Absolute top notch. Look, I think that brings us to the end of the show. We'll start plugging the channels. And look, I'll put Sean's link in there. I'm not going to be petty. I'll put the link in there, and I'll plug it for him. Diego, Tottenham on tour, my man. Ben
was lucky to give us some time as well today. He's been a busy man. His channel, that's why he's the mothership, as everyone knows I call them. Look at that smile. It's just worth saying mothership again, just for that smile. There it is. But yeah, listen, it's a big year. It's a big season for Tottenham on tour. We do have a lot of stuff coming up, a good few new shows coming on, all to be revealed shortly. So yeah, the thing we're really looking forward to getting back into, and hopefully Conte starts doing press conferences in Korea, because then we get straight out of Conte back. But yeah, there's going to be a good few shows. So obviously, if you want to come and subscribe to Tottenham on tour, please do. But obviously, these two people here, David, I started with going up singly, and obviously the mothership. So yeah, but Tottenham on tour is where you find me. Yeah, big up. Everybody get over there and smash the subscribe button on Tottenham on tour. Diego, really appreciate your time this evening, brother. Benji, where can people find you, brother?
They can find me on We Are Tottenham TV, every day streaming, everyday content. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button on here, the Irish Hotspur, Tottenham on tour as well. So yeah, big up to everyone. Thanks for letting me join today.
No, it's great to have you, my man. You and Sim need to start getting out and doing more of these, my man. We absolutely love the opinions. Everybody, you know exactly who they are. They don't need me to plug them, but do get over there and smash the subscribe button, and you will see me over there for a lot of pre-match pump-ups as well, guys. And then last but not least is Sean from Spurs Talk Show. He is a good guy. Me and him actually do usually get on like a house on fire. Bit of a disagreement today. I will go and ring him and try and sort it out. If we can, we'll wait and see. But guys, get over there to Spurs Talk Show and smash that subscribe button. He does put out a lot of good content, a lot of debates as well. So everybody get over there and check that out. Everyone.
Big up, Sean.
Big up, yep.
And then William Kelly says, Levy's child, Richarlison, will be our Diego Costa. Well, look, I mean, William Kelly, we'll have to wait and see. I really do hope so. Not a bad comparison. If that happens, that'd be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. But William Kelly, big yourself up, my man, and I really appreciate it.
I hope Richarlison makes his debut with the semicircle on the top of his head against Chelsea.
It'd be unreal. It'd be unreal if he comes on and scores the winner. The absolute scenes. There'd be more flare-throwing incidents, I reckon. But look, guys, we're going to end it there. I want to say a massive thank you to you guys out there for tuning in. Absolutely unbelievable numbers this evening. Thank you for smashing that like, subscribe, sharing these streams, and thank you for the super chats and supporting the channel and everything we do here. It's absolutely. I'm so grateful for absolutely everything you guys do for the Irish Hotspur. Is absolutely unbelievable. And big up Brian, Ben, and Sean for the time this evening. And guys, we'll see you all back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock for the Tottenham News Bulletin. And we'll get the fans on after the news and get you on to have your say. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. Everywhere we go.